Good morning, this is Suraj Singh. जन गण मन अधिनायक जय हे। भारत संविधान भारत भाग्य विधाता। जम्मू कश्मीर हिमाचल पंजाब हरियाणा राजस्थान यूपी उत्तराखंड बिहार गुजरात द्राविड़ आंध्रा तेलंगाना केरला कर्नाटका वंगा विंध्य हिमाचल तावी यमुना गंगा सरस्वती कृष्णा ब्रह्मपुत्रा उच्छल जल्दी तरंगा। तब शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तब जय गाथा सर्वधर्म नागरिक भारत विधाता। जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे। भारत संविधान भारत भाग्य विधाता। जय हे जय हे जय हे जय हो जय हो जय हो जय हो हे। जय भारत जय संविधान वंदे मातरम। सुजलम सुफलम मलया शीतलम सहस्या श्यामलम मातरम वंदे मातरम। Back to you again from Faridabad, NCR Bharat. Daily talk of this episode is serial project management, role of site engineer, role of other engineers. Construction, structures, designs, planning, quality, safety, and ultimately product of buildings. It's routine for someone, and it is learning for someone, and it is formality for someone, but still facts remain that public suffers, user suffers, money is abused, but hardly there is someone who takes care of this by mind and by heart. Management in construction engineering, in design engineering, in other engineerings is very, very complicated to an extent powerful activities are concerned. These powerful, I mean to say, these activities are not just talkative. These activities cannot be conducted just by delivery of speeches. These activities are required to be attended cent% if result orientation is required. If formality is required, it is something else. I talk about this every day because I find every day complete deficiency which should be not seen on these activities, but this lack of understanding, lack of provision of quality, lack of such requirements harm our progress, our development. These are responsible to damage our future. If someone spends money on some structure or some building, that should work for long as expected or as intended. But distress occurs too soon. I have seen buildings where load bearing walls settle within, you say, 2 years or 3 years, and plaster and rendering peels off even in 1 to 2 years. Beginning, if you see at the start of this, when you just deliver, it's very nice, very elegant elevation, beautiful colors. It seems that some really model has come down, but after 1 or 2 rain, you find distress on those buildings. Walls settle, cracks appear on walls, and it is easily understood that settlement occurs there. Why does settlement occur? Why these walls settle? Why cracks appear? Why we are not sure of this? And then what happens? Building ultimately loses its life. If building loses life, means you lose something, and in some cases there have been collapse. Buildings collapse very soon without even telling I'm going to collapse, because no building tells you that it's going to collapse until it is a structural one. A structural distress can be seen. We can understand this structure is in danger, but a structure, if it's there, it takes time. It doesn't collapse immediately. It can collapse only when overloaded, too overloaded, but it doesn't happen. When we take loadings on a structure, we consider dead loads, we consider live loads, we consider impact loads, we consider wind load, and many other types of actions we consider according to our codes and Euro codes or some other codes. And we know we consider weight or load according to density of material. For example, concrete is considered 2.5 tons per cubic meter, which is quite enough, reasonable. But there is a variance on live load. We consider live action, for example, 250 kilograms somewhere, 500 kilograms somewhere per square meter. But in actual practice, it doesn't happen. So there is a constant safety of factor as far as live loading is concerned. And that can help building not to collapse immediately. And there are so many other issues that it doesn't allow building, RCC building or structure immediately collapse. Settling is another thing. I'm not talking of settling. Settlement is something else. Settlement is something else which relates to soil. Soil below foundations. The soil is very serious matter, and we people are not concerned with that. Soil is taken as if it's nothing. If you talk to some common builder, some common supervisor, or some common person who is not very much educated in engineering by qualification, but must have done so many buildings in one's career without even having any technical backup. Well, people are doing, I can't stop that. There's no regulations. People are moving and doing everything they want. But question is, very first basic material is a natural material that is called earth or soil, on which your building transfers its all loads. We say foundation. What is purpose of foundation? Somebody, if you study in books or somebody asks you or 12, what you will say? You will say foundation supports building. Yes, foundation supports building, but where does foundation transfer this load? Foundation transfers this load to soil below, and soil receives all load and dissipates according to further arrangements of soil, natural arrangements of power of soil, how to condense those loads, how to diminish those loads. This means ultimate natural material is soil. And if we don't take care of that soil, which is formation, which starts at formation level and goes down with whatever technology understood, but if you don't care of that soil, what happens? We have taken care of foundation, we have taken care of reinforcement bars, we have taken care of concrete, we have taken care of formwork, we have taken care of everything, but we ignored soil. I have seen people do not understand this. They excavate, just water it, and with light rammer, even if you know it, with light rammer, then ignore that also. No need of rammering, no need of compaction, something. They do not understand. They say, oh, it's very good soil. They say that. Layman type people, they say that. I'm not talking of civil engineers. And they just found their building on that. And that is very differently. They don't even mix that concrete properly. That's called lean concrete. They use, in many cases I have seen, brick aggregates, broken bricks, you can say. They just lay those aggregates and put some limestone or something on that and dam it. Means there is no clear understanding about mechanism of foundation and below structure. For them, Compaction is distant, that is, you can say, alien for them. They do not understand that there was a soil, there was a strata which was consolidated one naturally, because this has been existing there for decades, and maybe 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, and that soil is like a natural soil because it is automatically not compacted, consolidated. It is solidified soil. Those people do not understand this point. They don't understand difference between compaction and consolidation. They do not understand anything. They do not understand what is natural state of soil and what is disturbed state of soil. When they excavate, they disturb it, and they don't understand that they have disturbed it. They just clear it and do work. So if your soil is now not natural, not compacted, means it is not densified. Why we call compaction? Because when it was disturbed, we try to repack it. When you excavate something, it disturbed. By excavator or even by manual excavation you disturb that natural factor. That consolidation power has been impacted, has been attacked. So your soil is now not solidified, it is broken. You have lost natural power of that, natural solid value of that. This point these people do not understand. And that is the result that your buildings many times settle at different locations and sometimes tilted. This is very minor point, it doesn't cost much, and it gives life to your foundation, because ultimately your building transfers load to soil below. And this point they don't understand. So what to do? Just to discuss and tell them. Tell whom? Nobody is there to understand. Well, I have seen this cracking, settlement cracks occurring everywhere, and it impacts upon all other finishes. We'll talk it later on about quality controls. I'm just referring to you this stage just to make understanding about where fault lies. Moreover, it's not simply compaction, it's water table as well. Sometimes soil is moist, very moist. People do not understand why it is moist. They just do something on that. Sometimes it is turbulent through layer of water. Sometimes it's very, you can say, clay, porous soil. And they do not understand differences of all these. Sometimes, it is sandy soil in rare cases. They do not understand that also. For them, if it is, sometimes what happens, clay has certain nature that when it comes in contact with water, it swells, and when water is dried out, it shrinks. And when it stands in between drying out as well as porosity, or you can say swelling state, is not clear to these people. It seems the soil is very strong. They take it that way, but they forget this soil is agricultural soil. Clay is not construction soil. They have to take it differently if they want to found structure on that soil. There is a clear difference between sand and clay and rock. Sand, clay and rock. Sand also had many structures, but sand is a material that allows flow of water through its pores, and that is called permeability. Clay does not allow flow of water through its pores, and therefore clay is not permeable. It stores water within its pore, and that's why we call it porous soil. It stores water and increases its volume from dry stage to wet stage, and that is called swelling of soil, swelling of clay. And until water is there in porous state, in that its volume doesn't come down until that water is dried out, then volume is reduced, and when completely dried out and all dried out, it reduces its volume and shrinks, and cracking is formed. Polygonal cracking you might have seen somewhere. That is because of over drying of clay soil or silt. So there's a big difference between sandy soil and clay soil. And if you take position of rock, rock is something different. It is very strong material, but rocks are many types: igneous rocks, sandy rock, or you can say sedimentary rocks, or you can say metamorphic rocks. These are three main, means igneous, or you call it Javalamukhi produced rock or volcanic rock. An eruption of volcano, it results into igneous rocks. Igneous itself is derived from Agni, igneous, IGN, igneous means it has come from Agni, it has come from fire, it has come from a volcano. It's very strong soil because it's magma, it's lava. It was below ground and now it's lava, and it's solidified, it's cool, it's not stratified, it's solid. And you have seen granite and other materials which come actually from volcanic rocks. And the question is then sedimentary rock. What is sedimentary rock? You might have studied geology. Sediment means settlement, and you can say collection of certain materials for long in one layer, then layer is compacted, automatically settles, and then another layer on that, and then another layer on that. It takes thousands of years and hundreds of years in some cases just to constitute, just to form sedimentary action and sedimentary rocks. See, sedimentary rock is a result of thousands of years of erosion and settlements and collection, and then on that another layer, and then on that layer, and depending upon number of layers you can count, and thickness of layer you can count how many years old this structure of soil is, strata of soil is. So one was igneous rocks, another is sedimentary rocks, and other one is metamorphic rocks, that relates to meteorology of area, environment of area. Chemical actions work on these rocks, sedimentary rocks, and there are chemicals, minerals in that. This further work on that, and it goes into reformation of sedimentary rock into metamorphic rock. Example is marble stone. This one of example is a metamorphic rock. So what I am saying is, if your structural below foundation is either of these, you have to take care of your foundation accordingly. If you get igneous rocks, it's very strong one. Of course, there could be fissures in that. There could be sandstone also. There can be your sedimentary rocks also, where there will be fissures and strata, and which strata it's vertical or it's horizontal, nobody knows, at an angle. And then this metamorphic rock. All investigation is therefore, soil investigation is therefore very, very significant if you are doing a big project. Activity of soil investigation or soil exploration is very important from engineering design point of view and engineering practical work point of view, but our people take it not that seriously. That is not a good case. That's not a good structural design state or soil exploration state or rock mechanical state. There are people who know rock mechanics, but people who do not take interest in application of that. Research point is one. Here, soil investigation is not considered a required activity or a mandatory activity. People just assume something, and that causes a problem. Okay, consider this 10 ton per square meter. They don't even know it's which type of soil, whether this bearing capacity applies to that soil or it does not apply. They do not consider that into their technical management, into their technical criteria. They just consider that much, 10 ton or 5 tons per square meter, even though it's clay soil where direct bearing capacity is not valued, because shear strength is also required. There are so many parameters which can be considered for different types of soils. And particularly, I have seen that even in soil engineering profession, all students do not have interest in soil mechanics. Maybe at, you can say, postgraduate level or some other level where the option is to study rock mechanics or something. There may be some criteria, but that is also a limited one. I have seen people are not clear about soil reports. They just reach some point and say, okay, fine, it's that. I have seen bore logs and many soil reports when I worked in my career. I have seen many soil reports, and it is very thick volumes. They give history of soil, how it happened, how it started, evaluation of that area, and they give bearing capacity reports as well as they give log bores and if this clay soil, some other parameters. They give so many rock quality designation. They give many parameters: angle of repose, shear strength, bearing capacity, and many other parameters. Depends on what your client wants, what type of structure it is, pile is required or not required, that isolated footings are required or not required, raft is required or not required. Such type micro piling is also solid sometimes. So the oil exploration activity, yes, you can say for very small building, I don't need this. You don't need this even for any building if you just assume something. But assumption, on what basis you will make, that's another point. How can you assume something? Yes, if you are working in that area for years and for decades and you know that area thoroughly, you may say, okay, I have seen this happened there in that building. We consider this. Here also we take a little variation, do it. Well, that is very localized treatment, and that's not wide treatment. But remember, soil exploration for below a ground surface, your building is going to be sited, is very important factor. And it's not only that 1 or 2 meter of ground you have to do it. You should go below even 10 meters, 20 meters in cases, more than that in some cases, depending upon height of building and what type of building it is. Maybe you need piling in that case, so you need pile maybe 10 meter down, 15 meter down, 20 meter down. So you need that complete vertical section information of soil strata. At ground level, very strong soil, maybe you go down, you will not find that level of soil, that type of soil. And if you go down below course, you find different here, and you may find water or you may find variation of the soil. You can find everything. It is very important factor. But people do not take this like what should be taken. Here, everything is a fun for people. They don't take seriously all these issues, which should be seriously taken. I am lucky that I had chance to go through all these thick reports prepared by foreign laboratories, and those laboratories are not just they are practicing, they are approved laboratory by high profile people. Without licenses they cannot operate there, but that legal state, I think, doesn't exist here. I have seen many reports here through somebody. These are written by certain university professors only, who they have no exposure in field, just like technicians or like professional engineers or professional scientists of soil explorations. It's not that if you are just having highest degree, you can do everything. You need equipment for everything. You need all riggings and bearing plates, and you need complete resources for testing soil. Who has got that? None. That's, I'm saying, first step is at soil itself, foundation itself. It's very important. Other activities, other factors come later on. Design of a structure or theory of a structure or how to do it, building and quality issues, safety issues, all these come later on. Until you don't have good soil below, your structure is not going to serve you. But this ab initio point, this threshold point, does not exist, is not sound, you can say. You go and see whatever project, you will not find any good information. I have tried myself to get me if something is available on some project, I could not get that. No complete information. This is even, they do not know about this. While it should be clear, but it doesn't happen. We are missing something. Yes, generally soil may be sandy, generally it may be clay, often not this area or that area. They just do their foundation on same copying other designs. That happens. So I am just stating here that you are constructing some structure on dreams, just assuming rightly or wrongly, and claiming you have done good job. No, it's not good job. It is kaল্পনিক job, imaginary job, hypothetical job. You are leaving it to nature. Let nature take care without your scientific knowledge, without your engineering input. All right. I am at this stage not going to talk a lot on foundation engineering, because my destiny, my concentration is focused on quality issues. To an extent construction is concerned, because it is not easy for general public to get apprised of technical details of buildings, but construction is important for them. They want to see delivery of that product, but my concern is delivery, and plus that, on top of that, quality of delivery, quality of structure, quality of materials. That is more important. Ultimately, if there is no quality, you cannot find use of that structure in future. To an expectation that you had in your mind, I will enjoy this building, my children will enjoy this building, and their children will enjoy the building. This means you had an intention, you have an intention that this building is going to serve you for generations. But shall that happen? That's the point here. It's a social point, it's a human point, it's an economical related point, it's a national related point. Because if that building fails and you lose your life, ultimately who suffers? Nation suffers, and public suffers, and everyone suffers. After all, it's question of life and death. It's question of property. Ultimately, it's lost. It's not your personal loss alone. It is social loss. It's community loss. It's national loss. We have to consider this way. It's not that easy alone that we leave it for granted and say, okay, I have done this, I have done that. That's not way of this. Just closing one file. Wait a minute. Yeah, okay. Now my point is I was talking about quality issues on structures, whatever type. As I repeat daily, I refresh you. Maybe many of you are new here on this conference, on this talk. Quality means what? Quality means what actually? What do we understand by quality? Just like we say character of a person or personality of a person. What do we mean by personality of an individual? Does it mean how you dress? Does it mean do you have your beard or your mustache? Or does it mean you are very intelligent? Or you speak lies, or you speak not like you have money or no money? How do you characterize a person? Is beauty means only face? Does beauty mean only face? Or does beauty mean your thoughts, your actions, your school of thoughts, how you undertake your work, to what level you are committed? How do you think that you should move? There are so many points that we consider. Or you think if you have a lot of money, you are a good person, and if you don't have money, you are not a good person. There is not one consideration, but many considerations when you identify and you classify personality of someone. It's personality, means person. It's not privacy, it's personality. How that person is in reality, that is personality. Person plus reality of that person. A person talks to you something and does something else. Your friend resides with you and doesn't reside mentally, just physically. Your dressing sense is very nice, but your talking sense is rubbish. Your thinking sense is rubbish. So that way I'm saying personality or character, everybody is different. Same way you have to see quality. Your personality is in fact a quality part. What your quality is. If I say you are a very good person, you have very good personality, you are very brilliant, you are very intelligent, you are this and that. I can name so many characters for one or you. But does that mean, is it character or personality or quality? I should say it's quality of a person that includes all parameters. This person is quality person. Quality person means what this person says, this person does. What this person assures, this person takes care of that. This person does not ignore what this person is responsible. This person is brilliant. This person is reliable. This person can be depended upon. We say that. This means you are not ignored by people. People look at you as an important person, as a person who can be trusted or relied upon, or cannot be thrown away. Okay, thrown away, I mean to say, okay, if you do it or get lost. It happens sometimes. I am giving you this, I'm asking you to do this, I'm requesting this. If you cannot do it, okay, fine, thank you very much. But a person who is reliable, no one would say to that person, thank you very much. They will ask you, okay, if you are not able to do like this, tell me alternative way. Yes, that is another route. Fine, you are not able to do this, tell me optional way. That person may tell you 2 or 3 optional way. Both, all are reliable. That is what I say quality person. That person has qualified something. And where qualify or qualification relates means it's also a part of quality. You are a qualified person, we say, educationally qualified, academically qualified, professionally qualified, technically qualified, or experience-wise qualified. Experience is also qualification. This means quality also is related to that one. You are very well trained person, you are professionally trained, you are educated, you have experience, all that. You are having certain quality of that level which can be relied upon. So you are a quality person. Quality person means you are having status of qualification. As we say, this person is an engineer, this person is a doctor, this person is an administrator, this person is a scientist, or so on and so forth. We say that. This means it is called quality of a person. Qualification is also a quality of a person. Qualification is not just certificate, it's accumulation of various parameters. It's certification, it's, you can say, intern level, it's experience and further education and experience and application and expertise and research and all that. This means there are various classifications of quality also. And if you can say these parameters do something for public, do something for profession, are useful for others, this is what is, you are a material there. What I say, you understand? You are also yourself a material, because you are a quality person, you are a resource. You are a resource person. You have so much information with you that can be used by others. And that's why you are a resource. You are a resource person. You are an information person. You are having information and actionable attitude that you can do something for others. That's where quality counts. But you should be committed. It's not simply you have knowledge, but you cannot apply that knowledge, then there's nothing, zero. If you have too much knowledge, you're very well educated, you have so many degrees, but none of this can be applied. I have seen many PhDs, I have got so many PhDs, but you have done nothing using them. So what's the purpose of a PhD? Same thing if you're an engineer or a doctor. If you don't use that in your profession, you are not an engineer, you are not a doctor, you just sleep at home or do nothing. I have seen many persons, I got BE degree and but he's doing something else. He's doing property dealing, he's doing a vending job, he's not linked to professional work. How can you say that person is an engineer? No, that person cannot be called an engineer. Just a certification is not engineering. That person then cannot be called a quality person as far as profession is concerned. We cannot call that person a quality person. Same thing applies to materials. Same thing applies to human resources. It applies to equipment. It applies to technology. It applies to everyone. If I am saying I have this much knowledge, I can do this for you, that is my quality. If I do that, if I only boast, that's not quality. So we are talking of a system of quality as a system as a whole, gross framing of system. That frame, just like we call building system or structural system or a structural anatomy of some building. That should work as a unit, integrated unit, not just elements or only one frame, then another frame, then another frame. It should act as a box unit in whatever stage it is, on whatever load it is taking. It's under seismic impact, or it's under wind impact, or it's under fire impact, or it's under dead load or live load, or whatever kind of actions or forces it's subjected to. It should work as a unit, as integral building, integral structure. Same way human works. I have a strong body, I have very good clothes, I eat good food, I am having stamina, I can walk, I can do, and I can think. All parameters, all criteria, all values I do have. So I am having a system of working. I cannot work if I'm not healthy. I cannot work if I cannot think all time, because if I'm not healthy, my mind would not work efficiently. If I am not walking, I cannot do my job. If I am somewhere disabled. I'm not talking of physically disabled, I'm talking of something else. I am disabled in my activity, in my work. I'm just boasting I am this, I am that, but I cannot deliver what I claim. That is very important point. Very, very important point. If you feel that, if you understand that, that's what quality says. Quality system means that. Quality system means, number one, there is a system defined by someone else or some other organization, which is recognized one, which is leading one, and which is having credentials in your country or throughout the world. You have to do work accordingly, according to that organizational system, according to those standards which have been published. That is one way. No, that is an only way in some cases in commercial applications. Or you devise your own system. You design your own system and follow it. If you are so competent, yes, I can do this way my system. I am designer of my system. I am authority of my system. I am exponent of that, and I can apply that. I can justify that. That works. That's also a way. Or you join other one, follow it, or you create your own and work on that and research on that and do that. If that is successful, that's no problem. You can do that. For example, artwork, we do artwork. We do some picture, some isometric, something. A kind of imagination we create on paper, that's called art. What was in your mind, you bring it to paper. By hypothecation and imagination means that is a piece of art. It can be art, or it can be design, or it can be whatever. It can be some scenery, something it should be. It's called art because it has come by intuition from your mind. There's some picture in your mind, you project it, you produce it, and collected it on a piece of paper. It's art, but can it be transferred through yourself to some physical being? That is called system. Production. So either we have to follow our own system, define it ourselves, formalize it ourselves and do it or structure it, or we follow something else. Now we are following for commercial work, for quality work, ISO 9000. We are following somewhere safety system, we are following somewhere environment system. Every discipline, every field nowadays is followed. Every field is following some system everywhere all over world. As far as quality criteria is concerned, we are following ISO 9001 in 2015 currently. This is completely revised one, and it is not new, it has been for decades. Starting from sometime 20, 25, 30 years back and coming now to this level. We are following systems in codes, European codes we are following, Indian codes we are following, American codes we are following, British code we are following, so many codes we followed. That's also system. So as far as quality is concerned, means quality means complete process. It's not one line. It's not simply testing, it's complete framework, complete build-up. You have to follow completely from 0 to 100 or A to Z. It's not simple one activity, it's a complete group of activities that involves from 0 to whatever number you can take. All serial numbers as you define in that system, you have to work on that to prove that you applied that. That is called system. And it was named quality system. Total quality system. Quality system is one thing and total quality system is also same. In total, it should be total. How total? Think, artwork, produce, develop. That's part of designs. Complete designs. Reporting, feasibility, from front end, feed, you can say, and then delivery of drawings, design of methods, design of specifications, and then work done, and then functional and commissioning and everything imparted to that. And it comes into action, it comes into service, and then serve. All these lay acts, all these acts come into play. In totality is called quality performance. If these activities do successfully, this is quality system. Every step should be per quality requirement. And it is understood that if you follow everything in that process positively in compliance, you shall certainly get product which is quality one. That means quality. So it is completely different than quality control. It is system quality. For example, if you say you are a student, you have joined your some scheme in engineering or whatever field, you are attending class 1, or you say first session, second session, third session, or years, whatever you can call that. You are successful always through complete attendances and attend, you finally you got a certificate. That certificate is not in isolation, remember. That certificate is not in isolation. That certificate is a product of all these phases from your admission to your passing out. Completely attending your offices, appearing in examination, attending lectures, attending classes, anything, and that's where it's a quality success. It is. Can you go there, just jump into one examination, I pass it and go? Can you do that? You cannot do that. Because there is a system of training, there is a mechanism of training, there is a tenure of training, and you have to abide by all that and appear in examination and then pass out. That way we call it a system of education or professional education. Same thing we are when doing in field, we are working in construction, or we are working in some factory, or we are working wherever there are processes, there are our system, and that is what is called quality system. It is very, very different. It's very, very powerful in construction, very, very powerful. We may not understand that, we may not have an idea of that, but behind scene it works. It works very tremendously in a powerful way. General public is not aware of that. And in many cases, our professionals too are not aware of that. They may have books of quality, they may say, yes, there is a system, there's a book, but they never read that, what to do, what not to do. Oh, we have a system, we follow that, we have customized system, and that's fine for us. Yeah, they will get certification everywhere, they will find, I don't know how they take, and they don't follow this. So there are pluses and minuses everywhere, but point is, if that system works for us, it should work. If we immerse ourselves in the system, we associate with the system, we should use that if we can. And if we cannot do that, then we have to devise our own system. That's another way. But when you are in commerce, you are in industry, you are in field, you are in business, you have to support that system to get business. You have to be under that system to get business. For example, there are businesses in Europe, that's called European Union. There are complete requirement. If you don't abide by our systems, we don't consider you for this business. We don't consider you for bidding and all that. We do not accept you as our vendors. All right. This means you are compelled to follow that. Similarly, you are compelled to follow ISO 9000 to 2015 if you want to compete. So there is a binding, there is application force. You have to do that, and that is what I am talking about. That's what I'm talking about. It's not simply blank talk, it's backed, it's behind, its backing is very powerful, and that is what we have to see. If you don't update yourself, if you don't understand this, you cannot move further. It's not something unknown, it's known. You are doing that also in field. You used to that in past also. Whatever we are doing now, it was done before also when quality system didn't exist. Because I am also a person from that era when there was no formal quality there was no formal quality system. But still, we used to conduct that according to conventions there, according to practice in those days. We used to do all that, but title was not given. We used to do supervision, we used to do all surveys, we used to do everything on a record. We used to take measurements, we check quality and specification, everything, and fully documented. But because there was no system, it was not named. But now it is named, and there have been variations and developments and everything. Quality controls have updated, they have gone further and further advanced. Procedures have changed and have been documented. Documentation has advanced. Documentation of systems has advanced and unexpectedly. Documentation tells you you have done it. It tells someone it is evidence. Evidently, it has been done. That is what purpose of documentation is. But if these documents are framed or manipulated, then you cannot say that quality has been affected. Quality means real quality, not just documented quality. If documents can be doctored, then that is condemnable. And people should not do that. They should not manipulate documents. So quality is big, powerful subject in our profession. And it's not in our profession, it's also in many other professions. But it should be real. It should not be certification only. Your product should claim that this is a quality product. Can product do that? That is main point. If your product does not speak that this is a quality product, then all processes are waste. Though there is no guaranteeing system that product shall comply with, it shall conform to system, but it must. If I buy something, they say it's quality product, it's very good product, you go and use it, and you find that product not performing. Where it may come from top company, it may come from wherever, but it does not perform, Now, what's purpose of quality system? It has happened in industry, car industry. Many cars were replaced because of many people. Oh, for BMW is calling car, that company is calling back its car because quality lapse was there. It was quality lapse. It's evident. So you cannot call back your building, you cannot call back your flyover, you cannot call back metro system because of quality lapse. And moreover, construction is different world where doctor has go to place, not patient has to go to doctor. My patient is my project. I am doctor of that. I have to go to that patient to treat that patient. It's reverse than medical. You go to doctor as patient and doctor treats you. Here you have to go to patient because patient is immobile. Patient cannot walk. There's a difference. And you are always in remote areas from cities, always in general when you are really on project. All major projects are either on beaches or on seashore or somewhere, all onshore projects. All major projects are in jungles or in deserts. This means you are having a sacrificial tendency to be successful. If you cannot sacrifice, you cannot be successful. Moreover, construction field is demanding one. It demands your sacrifices. It demands your exposure. It demands that you have to be strong in every aspect. For example, physically, mentally, and you have to be in all weather conditions. You have to work successfully, and you should not think of society there that you should join society. You have to sacrifice many celebrations, and you cannot be happily living with your family on site. That's not possible. So this is different kind of world. Maybe you have to work 15 16 hours to 24 hours, or sometimes you have to continue working during concreting procedures, during concreting pouring activity. There is no limitation because you are responsible for that. You have to keep an eagle eye on that. You are there. So do not think you will enjoy after becoming engineer, and particularly civil engineer. Civil engineer should be one who cannot care for society, who thinks in his mind, who does not think I have a girlfriend, I'll stay with her, I'll marry and live. Don't think that way directly. If you are a civil engineer or you are going to be civil engineer, if you are going to be civil engineer, then you have to stay, you have to sacrifice your future in society. You are like an army of development. You are like an unknown soldier who is not designated soldier, but in fact you are a soldier. Because if you are there to work, society would work. Society shall form. If you are not there, nobody will form. You have to think in different aspects, different lines. Do not combine yourself to other professions. Do not think what others are getting, I would get. If you think that way, then you are in wrong world. You better leave engineering and go away somewhere else. I have seen many professionals who have qualified, who have got educated, who have certified themselves, got certification, but they are not working in engineering. Then what's purpose of your education? It's no use if you have to jump to management, if you jump to IT, if you jump to someone else, then better don't waste time. Why are you wasting time? Do ordinary graduations, go to MBA. Why you are going to engineering for studying 5 years and then throwing it away? There's no use. And whatever you learn, that's no use, no meaningful, because you did not apply that. If you have learned for 4 or 5 years too much, that should be applied. But if you are going to management, you are missing that. If you are going to administration, you are missing that. It is national wastage. It's your own wastage, in fact. Because whatever you learned is waste. That you can go for ordinary degree and do that. But you did not do that. You wanted to earn money. That was the packing point. That's the root point. Money is more important than you than service to society. Money is one part of your life. That's very important part. But does engineering means earning, money earning? No, this not means. And no profession means money earning. What engineering alone? Does medical means that? Not at all. It's no more medical now. These are all business centers. All hospitals are business centers, all nursing homes are business centers. You cannot call them social centers, health centers, because they are just trying to make money. They are money making centers. All big hospitals, they just want money. They cannot care for their clients, their patients. Same thing in administration. Same thing is management package. What package I get? You are a professional of package making money, or you are a professional to do something for God. You have to decide. Engineering shall not give you money in current environment. It shall not give you money, because engineering is not meant for money. It's meant to construct something. Yes, there will be money if there are no engineers. Very few engineers are there, you'll get money. But there are plenty of engineers all over the world. But are they real engineers? That's the point of view. Do they work engineering by heart, by mind, by conscience, or just they are engineers for market value? Market value, I mean to say, when I was young, I was studying, there were some people who were just doing further studies for purpose of showing that they are having this title of education so that their matrimonial market rises up. If that's the case, it's different. Now I am talking of quality. Enough entertainment I've done for you just to think like that. Quality says you have to deliver, finish. You have to write your system yourself according to guidelines or according to mandate of ISO 9001 or Sigma or whatever you follow. I don't follow Sigma as far as construction engineering concerned, because Sigma is for production engineering, for mechanical engineering, for industries. It's not for construction industry. Construction in, I mean, I'm calling it construction industry because it is in fact industry. Though in our country it's not called industry, it doesn't make a difference, because even if you don't call it industry, activities would go on as they are going on. You cannot stop them. ISO 9001-2015 is an upgradation of ISO 9001-2008. High upgradation. Major changes are that you become more smart, you become more reliable, you become more responsible, and you become more and more self-mover. This is basic fundamental change. ISO 9001-2015 is leading one. It makes you lead yourself, and it impacts, it attacks on higher management, top management. It makes them, it binds them to be more responsible. They have to take responsibility, obligation, and accountability. Top managers or even industry owner, all included. It's not simply left to hired one, only the quality engineer or quality inspector or quality manager. No, it's no more that much low level now. You are responsible for yourself. You have to declare your policy yourself according to some regulations or according to some set procedures by ISO 9001. There are two parts. Now one is mandatory part that you have to do that, and other one is optional part you have to do for your own support. That is for your own support, and one is for mandate, and that mandate means defined form, and that is called NHSL, high level structural language. Means you have to define according to that mandate your organization. You have to define that you have to define in every case. It may be your construction, it may be your safety, it may be your environment, or it may be whatever else. You have to define that. And other one is you can do that or cannot do that. It's up to you. If it requires, you do that. If it doesn't require, don't do that. These are two considerations. Construction is that much wide if you include commercial of construction, execution of construction, and design of construction. All are having diverse aspects, divergent view. Vistas are great. Vista word I am using because there is no limit. You can do unexpectedly expensive areas, expensive management, which is covered by mental power. You can do whatever you wish to do for fulfillment of your responsibilities. But best is define everything point to point so that you do not waste time. Complete analysis of your management of your requirement of activities should be done prior to finalizing certain procedures. You can do something in one go and same thing you can do in many goes. That is up to you how convenient it is to you and to that person for whom you are doing this and to third party. All these points must be covered in your one. If you can define something in one page, same thing you can define in a whole book, or same thing you can have in one line. It's up to you how intelligent you are and how intelligent are those who are interdealing with you. That is what is there. So I will just speak again for this Annex SL, which is actually, it's something that people do not understand directly. And I would say that ISO 9001-2015 basics is different. Annex XL, which you should know first, because there was a guide in 2008, ISO 9001-2008, there was a guide and it was called ISO guide, which has gone now in 2015. And there is a system definition, that is Annex SL, which you have to follow up. There are 10 clauses in that, and basics of this is, I'm just reading it again for you so that at least in every talk a brief has to come about it, basics. And let me blow it up little, because yes, it is done. Now I'll speak about this with my glasses on because I can't read otherwise. It says quality system, an organization adopts a management system to take care of comfortably achieving its set objectives. It says that an organization adopts a management system. Organization adopts a management system to take care of comfortably achieving its set objectives. Management system comprises various sets of procedures for charting out and implementing various operations or activities so as to successfully reach its intended objectives. Means we have to reach to intended objectives. For that, management system comprises all sets of procedures. Now, which leads to enhanced use of resources, means our resources should be used to a maximum efficiency level, and that's called enhanced use of resources, improvement on risk management, and increase customer satisfaction by meeting product or services expectations. Customer satisfaction is something you define your way. I have seen many policies in companies. We just put a page on a wall as policy of company that customer satisfaction is our requirement, is our aim, is our destination. It's very good in considering, oh, I am very serious about my customer, but how to do that is very big question. Customer service, I have seen people, when I go to take my car for service, that company is also following ISO 9000 or something other, same system, same quality management. After service is done, they give me a form, kindly sir, fill it, and they stand before you and say, fill it. See, when somebody is standing before you and you're filling, how can you say bad? You will not say bad. It happened with me. I say something, please explain to me why you are doing this. That's not quality. Means you leave person free and let person write what he wants. Well, your quality says your customer should be satisfied and that satisfaction should be defined. Are we defining satisfaction? This customer does not understand your whole procedure. This customer is not with you, just paying and buying something. If that customer knows what you are doing from beginning till end, till production is delivered, only then that person can be satisfied. But you are doing everything under your control, and that person is just deliver this product, take sir this one. This is quality. You call it customer satisfaction. I don't call it customer satisfaction. This is just a formality. He person should be told everything, how we did it, how, and he should be invited. Particularly in our line, construction business, owner has to come many times and see what we are doing. Or we should give videos to him, see what we have done. That person should be clearly convinced that we have followed up all systems. Well, I will not explain here at this point. It's going to advise about what system is. Now, organizations do work on various management systems, say quality management system, environment management system, safety management systems. And what they say about this is that 2008 document used to work on varying management structures, causing inconvenience to interface with each other. In those days, there were different types of formats for these. According to mandate of these, quality management, environment management, and safety management, there were different formats, different ways, and these formats never matched with each other, and it was very difficult to integrate them. This is what 2008, and there was that's why 2015 has come in, just to avoid that inconvenience of many standards. And it's Annex SL being a high level, that's what's called high level management system, means it integrates all those. It can symmetrically move all these now: management, quality management, environment management, and safety management. They can be converted to each other format, and there is no default point now, no difficult point that we cannot coordinate, we cannot interface each other. So Annex SL being a high level management system has produced a common platform so as all systems that organization adopts can be drawn based on Annex SL designs or format. Now, such arrangement provides many commonalities in designing system implementation, monitoring, evaluation, or improvement by trying to eliminate conflicts that existed within ISO 9001-2008 system. All management systems shall have single high-level identical core text with common terms and definitions. High-level structure cannot be changed, but discipline-specific subclauses can be both added or changed. High-level structure cannot be changed, but discipline-specific subclause can be both added or changed. Annex SL applies to all management system standards, publicly available specifications and technical specifications, and ISO 9001, 14001, and 45001 shall all be based on Annex SL high-level structure. I'll now just mention clauses in this format. Is a format here. It says first column is clause column, second column is format title, third is description and intended action related to PDCA, and that PDCA means plan, do, check, and act. Plan, do, check, and you have to plan something, you have to do something, you have to check what you have done, and then if there's a problem, you act on that to improve that. That is what it means. Now, clause 1 says scope means what is scope? Scope means intended outcome of management system which are industry specific and should be aligned with clause 4, that is text of organization and context of organization. So I'm going just to speak about this. Clause 2 is normative references, which includes details of reference standards or publications relevant to particular standard. And then it is terms and definition. That's in clause 3, terms and definition, which includes detailed terms of definitions applicable to particular specific standard in addition to format related terms and conditions. Then class 4 is context of organization, which includes understanding organization and its context, understanding needs and expectations of parties, determining scope of management system and management system. And then it's clause 5, which is leadership. Leadership includes leadership and common commitment, policy, organizational roles, responsibilities, and authorities. And then it is clause number 6. This is planning, which includes actions to address risks and opportunities, management system objectives, and planning to achieve these objectives. And then it is the clause 7. Clause 7 support. This includes resources, competence, awareness, communication, documented information. And then if you go to operations, there is clause 8, which includes operational planning and control. Points for considerations are in-house process, outsourced process, overall process. Management includes adequate criteria to control these processes, manage, plan, and unintended clauses. Then clause 9 is performance evaluation, which includes monitoring, measurement, analysis and evaluation, internal audit, management review. And after clause 10, which is improvement, which includes non-conformity and corrective actions, continual improvement. These are 10 clauses, and this structure that is given here can be used as it is, or you can add additional sub clauses into this. There is no bar to that, but these major prime format contents must be complied with. Addition is not bad. You can do whatever you want. So now what is say most important objectives in relevant ISO 9000 series of standards have been to develop a simplified set of standards. What they say, develop a simplified set of standards that shall be equally applicable to small as well as medium and large organizations, for amount and detail of documentation required to be more relevant to desired results of organizations' process activities. So this is what is all about. And now another point is, what is documented information? Now we are talking about documented information. This is not system of documents. This was before, but now records, you can say what records you need. As a term, documented information was introduced as part of common high-level structure and common terms for management system standards. Definition of documented information can be found in ISO 9000 clause 3.8. Documented information can be used to communicate a message, provide evidence of what was planned has actually been done, or knowledge sharing. The following are some main objectives of an organization. Documented information, independent of whether or not it has implemented a formal QMS. And what is this information? Document information, we can say communication of information. It's a tool for information transmission and communication. Type and extent of documented information shall depend on nature of the organization's products and processes, degree of formality of communication system, and level of communication skills within organization and organizational culture. Then evidence of conformity, provisions of evidence that what was planned has actually been done, and the knowledge sharing it is to disseminate and preserve organization experience. A typical example would be a technical specification, let us consider, which can be used as a basis for design and development of a new product. Means if it was your organizational product, you recorded that, a specification can be repeated. So you can say how this medium is then. Annex A, how it works means a list of commonly used terms and definitions relating to document information is given somewhere else in Annex A. Is given. Now let us say, according to the system 9001-2015, as a 753 clause, where the control of document information requirement, as it says, documents may be in any form, in whatever form or type of medium, and definitions of document. And nice 2015, it could be on paper, it could be on magnetic, it could be electronic or optical computer disk, it could be a photograph, it could be a master sample, and many more and so on. This is what actually it is. And now what this document requirements actually do. ISO 9001-2015 clause 4 for quality management system and its processes requires an organization to maintain document information to an extent necessary to support operation of process and retain documented information to an extent necessary to have confidence that processes are being carried out as planned. General explanation of the, let us say, what you did, document information required by internal standards, you have to do that. These are standards, document information that is required by international standards. This is what we are talking of. Then document information determined by an organization as being necessary for effectiveness of quality management system. As I discussed before, two types are there. One is according to international requirement, second is according to your own requirement. So we can say that after this clause, we can make it clear the extent of QMS document information can differ from one organization to another. That's right, means it depends upon size of organization, depends on power of organization, depends upon project, and depends on so anything. And so we can say that what is size of organization and its type of activities, processes, products and services, and what is complexity of processes and their interactions, and competence of persons. All document information that forms part of QMS has to be controlled in accordance with clause 7.5 document information. That's another clause for that. So document information need to be maintained by organization for purposes of establishing a QMS high level transversal documents. So we can say, what is that? You see, scope of quality management system. Scope of quality management system, document information necessary to support operation of processes, quality policy, quality objectives, document information subject to requirements of clause. So let us say document information maintained by organization for purpose of communicating information necessary for organization to operate low-level specific documents, although ISO 9001:2015 does not specifically require any of them. Examples of documents that can add value to QMS may include, this is organizational documents possibilities. For example, organization chart, which is not mandated but can be done. Organization chart, which is top management to line management. Then processes, process maps, process flow charts, and or process description that can be engineering. Then procedures, technical and administrative. Then work on or test instructions, IFC, specifications, project general and particular, documents containing internal communications, memos, mails, methods, production schedules, descriptive schedules, approved suppliers list of all vendors, test and inspections plans, checklist and ITPs, quality plans, site or project based documents, quality manuals, organization based documents, strategic plans and forms. These are all your own requirements. It's not mandatory, but you have to use them. So you can say what documents you can retain for organizations means whatever information you feel is necessary to an extent is necessary and you have confidence that are being carried out as planned, and evidence of fitness for purpose of monitoring and measuring resources. So there are very other records of these. For example, let me say documentary information is needed be retained by organization for purpose of providing evidence of result achieved, and this can be done by that. Means these include documented information to an extent necessary to have confidence that processes are being carried out for planning, evidence of fitness for purpose of monitoring and measuring resources, evidence of basis used for calibration of monitoring and measurement resources when no international or national standards do exist, then evidence of competence of persons doing work under control of organization that affects performance and effectiveness of QMS, results of review and new requirements for products and services, records needed demonstrate that design and development requirements have been met, records on designs and development inputs, records of activities of design and development controls, records of design and development outputs, design and development necessary, designs and development changes including results of review and authorization of changes and necessary actions, records of evaluation, selection, monitoring of performance and re-evaluation of external providers, and some other actions arising from those activities Evidence of unique identification of outputs when traceability is a requirement, records of property of customers or external providers that is lost, damaged, or otherwise found to be unsuitable for use and of its communication to owner, and results of review of changes for production or service provision, persons authorizing changes and necessary actions taken, records of authorized release of products and services for delivery of customer, including acceptance criteria and traceability to authorization person, records of non-conformities, actions taken, concessions obtained, and identification of authority, deciding actions in respect of non-conformities, results of evaluation of performance and effectiveness of QMS, evidence of implementation of audit program and audit results, evidence of results of management system review, evidence of nature of non-conformities and or some subsequent actions taken, results of whatever corrective measures taken. Organizations are free to develop other records that may be needed, demonstrate conformity of their processes, products, services, and quality management system where they exist. All such records are also subject to requirements clause. This is Annex SL explanations actually. Now I'll move further on to this company issue, and before that I have just rephrased you about a standard pro forma Annex SL having 8 clauses which are mandatory. These clauses are fundamentals, these clauses are foundation of your required system. These points you have to fulfill in your when you devise your system, when you declare, and for that declaration you need to make this format. This format is not that difficult, it's very easy. In fact, if you want to study this, you can study this. It's not difficult. It's an interesting one. You write yourself what your organization is about. You are defining what's your scope, you are defining what's your references, what you can say normation, normal norms, how whatever your organization work is there, what you do means text, and then what is planning, and when what is support, and where it means all these points are covered in these documents. You may say this is a kind of format you are writing yourself, and you can write for your all companies, all organizations, all projects, even project oriented can also be. It covers your scope because once you write for this, you can parallelly you can introduce for safety, you can introduce environment. This helps you. It's nothing that is very rocket science or something. You just need certain idea, certain mind to think that, and there's no need of demanding any support on that. There's no need of aspiring that. Once you understand what you're going to do, after what you go to do, you'll do according to what your organization does. Only this structure is for purpose of, you can say, paperizing this, you can say documenting this. Documenting so that a person can read this, a person who's auditing you, or person who is a customer, that person must know what you are doing. This is not very big deal. You are already doing that on site, you follow up that, but there was no record. You know by statements only, by working only, okay, we worked there, yes, on video you remember, but this is your writing what you're going to do, and you are also approving yourself. So you don't write too much as well as you don't write too small. It should be communicative. Other persons should know that you have done rightly, you have got it done rightly. It's not big, but it should be done. But important point is not this alone. Important point is implementation of quality. Important among this is quality control always. Procedures of quality control. If you are following this and you are missing quality control, testing and everything and compliance of that, this system will not work otherwise. It depends upon your commitment, your dedication, your determination that I have to do this as a company. It doesn't impact upon your profit, remember. It doesn't impact upon your turnover. It doesn't impact upon anything. It's only misconception that there is a loss of money. Why loss of money is there? You are writing some process, how it can be loss of money? You are complying by codes, you are complying by international systems, you are complying by your own managers, you are complying by your mind, and you are just determining, you are just framing yourself in a way, in a system, and you do that. That is more important. System is there, but we miss somewhere. As I said, we miss in soil. We miss taking control of soil. We miss taking control of concreting formwork. We miss taking control of reinforcing work. We miss control of pouring concrete. We miss control at other points. We miss control in curing. We miss control in, you say, repair work. We miss control in control of time. So many points that we can miss, but this system cannot catch them. Remember, this system cannot catch them because this is a system only. This is a guidance only. This tells you what you have to do, but you have to do. If I say I'm complying whole system, all these points I'm taking care of, all these clauses I understand well, but these clauses are not codes, these clauses are not supervisors, these clauses are not quality inspectors. That people have to work, personal and professionals have to work. So actually work is still more important than system. System you have to follow, but if you cannot follow system in technical way, this system will not be helpful. Again, same thing comes. As I said, I have a product, I bought that product, I have been told that product conforms to international standards, but in fact when I use that product, it does not perform that way. If it does not perform that way, then where is system? Same thing, I construct something according to designs. I got designs from structural engineer, I got designs from architect, I got designs from everywhere, but I am not going to do that on site according to requirement. I fail meeting requirements. I do not conform to what is done, what has to be done. My system would not help me. If I don't care about temperature of concrete, if I don't care about what is formwork, how it is done, how I to take control of that, if I don't understand technology, then this system has no meaning. So it is done, it is proven only when you do your job. Your how to do your job, this system shall not teach you. You have to make system according to your knowledge. It's very important that quality control your performance, your colleagues performance, your staff performance, everything shall add value to system only if you do job. So you cannot just move this system for your moving. You have to move yourself to move this system. This is just a system. You have to comply or by this system. You have to adhere to this system by your own performance, by your own initiative, your own motion. If you cannot do that, the system is just paperwork. Means who has to be clever then? A person who writes this SL, annex SLS system, or a person who does? This means a teamwork on site, a teamwork in designs, a teamwork in planning, a teamwork in safety. Everywhere team has to perform, or you can say crew has to perform. And if crew member fail, if some crew member fails or all crew member ignore this, there is no meaning of that. That is what is happening in most places, in most companies and organization. System exists there, everything is there, but people ignore everything. They ignore everything because they are not well trained. They are not well trained, well informed about this system. They are not informed about technical importance of quality control. They are not informed. How many technical persons on site, supervisors on site are informed about what is concrete technology? My point is that we talk of concrete all the time because concrete is very expensive material. It is manufactured on site itself. It is so expensive that we have to think 100 times how to design, what thickness of this should be, how size of this should be. We take into that into our consideration. Do we take or we don't take? We take that. Then this person on site, foreman, supervisor, or a person of same rank quality guy, that person understand what is concrete technology. If that person does not understand, because I fail to convince him, I fail to communicate to that person what we have to do, then that person will not do. Even sometimes those ready-mix concrete suppliers, they do not know what is purpose of this, what is texture of concrete, what is system of this concrete, how does it perform, what is its technology. They are just interested in production, mixing and production. My site supervisor or foreman is just interested to receive this and place. If they only are restricted to themselves, their part of activities, then where is system? If that supervisor does not understand quality of concrete, if that foreman does not understand, if that person in batching plant, that crew do not know what should be done, how should they only know physical activity, they don't understand behind what's there, what's the design criteria, what is production criteria, or they are just conduct certain tests to satisfy certain paperwork and okay, I have done this. There where we miss. This is where we miss. And person who is responsible there, even engineer or assistant engineer or project manager, that person also is unaware or ignore all this. So where is then system working? We say we are certified, we have this system, we are following an Excel, we are following complete methods, and we are following quality plan and safety plan and site plan and project plan and all that. But nobody is following that. Consultant says it is followed, site engineer says it is followed, everybody says followed, but in fact it is not followed. Because a person by stealing, somebody adds water to transit mixer just to make it more fluid and easily pourable, and engineer doesn't know, and that foreman doesn't care, because that foreman thinks, oh, it's good for my workers because they can easily lay it. Ultimately, it's a poison that has gone to concrete. Additional water is like poison. It will certainly impact strength. It will impact the durability because water cement ratio has been increased. So workability of concrete has increased, of course. It is easily pourable. You can work on concrete because you have added water. That is of course wrong. But that foreman, that supervisor does not understand this. That person thinks only for workers should easily work on that. That person is concerned for his workers, because workers say, oh, foreman, so what you have done, it's very difficult to pull this concrete. They are thinking only for physical activity. They are least bothered about loss of concrete life that this added water, this additional water will impact. That guy doesn't understand. And engineer sleeping in office, he is not even understanding somebody would add water. It happens. It happens. What to do? This means all system has been violated by that one activity, additional water. So you have destroyed that batch of concrete. If you have destroyed that batch of concrete out of many batches, it is going to harm body of that element or no think of. You have destroyed something yourself because of some physical difficulty your crew is facing. That is where I'm saying there should be continuous control, not simply control. And that too, if you know as professional. I have not seen professionals all time reading and entering into catalogs and getting into them and extracting more information and reading systems and going through specifications, going through so many things and understanding what to do. I have not seen even procedures they write to do what. I have not seen this supervisory staff to know what they are doing and why they are doing. I have my personal experience. Even if I tell them this, sometimes on my back laugh. They laugh. It happened with me also. My foreman, when I was not there, put some water in mixer, transit mixer, And by chance, that consultant noted this. That consultant noted this. He told me. So what we did, it's okay. We cannot take out water from that. There is only one way, either throw this concrete or take sample of this concrete. We took separate cubes for that batch and kept them separately. I was sure this will pass because I have that experience. That consultant said this cube would be tested in his presence, not his presence. I said, no problem, you do test this. No, I no problem. And they told me, you keep this inside conditions as well. Okay, I said, it's not given in codes. I am telling you, you do it. Okay, I do it. We kept in soil. Why do fear? Okay, we will see what happens. My foreman did a mistake. What can I do? After all, that much tolerance you should have. You have to take risk sometimes. We took risk. And then God successfully tested this. He tested that successfully. It happens in many cases. If I explain to foremen what happens, they go on applying vibrators, applying and applying. Again, they do not know application of vibrator. They do not know because nobody explains to them. So you have to teach them. That's why we say training of vibrator person is important. Training of farm work workers is important. Training of steel fixer workers is important. Training of every artisan, every craftsman is important on all activities. If you do not train them, yes, they know their job physically. They can do it very successfully. They know how to do it, but they do not know how to do it quality-wise. Training of quality-wise work is very important. You may call it skill development or you may call it update in whatever you may call it. I don't go to that title. If you tell them, if you teach them, they will do it. They will do it. But you have to tell them. And you can tell them only when you know it. I have seen many carpenters, farm work carpenters, just working on carpentry, on farm work without understanding how to control it and what point they should manage on, what point they should take care of. If I write a statement, give to them, give to foreman and give to supervisor, this is my method statement of farm work, you read this, nobody is going to read that. Nobody. Means whatever I worked on, whatever I wrote on them, what sketch I made, drew, what writing I made on this, people are not going to read that. I am reading that, consultant is reading that, someone else is reading that, and they say, okay, pass this to site. This means if that person goes to site, that person asks that responsible crew head, how you are doing, method must be known to that person, but unfortunately it's not known. They do not answer that. So only professional person, maybe junior or who is directly supervising on site, that person should respond. But this must be told, this must be intimated and explained to that carpenter, explained to that foreman and supervisor who takes care of carpenter or masons or steel fixers what you have to do. You have to tell them and you have to see, you have to ensure that they are doing that, they do that. If they don't do that, you cannot delegate responsibility to them, then you have to keep someone on them. That's the example I'm giving you. We know concrete is liquid, very much liquid. It's fluid. It may be in column, it may be in wall, it may be on slab, it may be in foundation, wherever it is. It's complete green when you come and take it out of mixing machine, you take it out, it's like water flowing, like some viscous liquid flowing. This is purpose of form work. When to form into some shape, we work on form, we produce form work. Because we have to cast that fluid into that form, and that's why we call it formwork or shuttering. We are shuttering that shape into a mold. This means is mold. Column formwork is a mold. Foundation formwork is a mold. Everything is a molding system. We want to mold that liquid, that fill with concrete into that system. That is purpose of formwork. It's like water you're filling in a tank. Your tank should be strong to take force of water, means to take vertical pressure of water and horizontal pressure of water both. And there should be a resulting force of that one as you go down and down and down. Height of tank is this much. This is force. Where does that force apply? That point engineer should know, foreman should know, and that point, if possible, everybody should know. Do you know when you fill something? Where does maximum resultant pressure act? That's point to be known. This is hydraulics, this is fluid mechanics. Because water is liquid and this concrete is also liquid. We know density of concrete, we know height of concrete. What pressure shall come on formwork? That must be known. And what height does it act? That must be known. If we know that, we can control to hold that formwork using tie bolts, using inclined supports, using horizontal bottom support, using inclined tops, dimensional supports. So there is a dimensional control. There is access. First of all, there is access control. Orientation or sighting of your column should be in correct position. That is axial control. Means you take from center line of building and then how many meters it is away from. Exact location control. Then shuttering control with dimensional vertical control from all four sides. And then position of top dimension control. Its orientation means it should be in plumb. And then you have to see at what height your maximum pressure would come or resultant pressure would come, because there are 3 points. One is bottom layer, which you call kicker, somebody calls whatever, zero height, that is number one. And top up to what you have to fill, you have to cast, that is number two. And between is 1 point. That is generally at height. Casting height is h, let us say. So bottom h over 3, bottom third height is top, 2/3 from top, 1/3 from bottom. That point is a point where resultant pressure applies if column is full. If column is full. If this point you understand, you can do correct your formwork, you can produce it. Your maximum resulting or supporting prop or timber or whatever you are doing, or your board or whatever you are doing, that should register there. Bottom can be controlled by horizontal member, and top dimension has to be held up by inclined one. These are structural supports on column form. And also on wall form, if you are going to cast RCC wall. This applies rarely to slabs because slabs depth is not that much. It applies to columns, it applies to your wall, it applies to your deep foundations, everywhere it applies. If this point is made clear to foreman or supervisor or charge hand, that they can remember, this much everybody can understand. It's not big formula, it's not bending moment, shear force or deflection formula that we cannot explain to them. They can easily understand this, very easily. And if you are able to do it in addition to other additional supports, at least bulging of vertical member, or we can say movement from its shape, movements from its actual dimensions can be controlled. And if you can control, this bulging won't happen. So you will not achieve later on. That is what is required. Quality works like this. It's not simply concrete testing. You may call it workmanship, you may call it dimensional control, you may call it vertical or horizontal control, you may call it axial control, or you may call whatever. It's up to you. No argument on that. Same thing applies to every member. It may be beam, it may be slab, it may be depending upon member and its use, it applies. So this basics you have to understand before involving or incorporating this procedure part into your quality system. This you have to understand. We kind, in our country here, people are afraid to cast more than 1 meter or 2 meters. I don't know reason behind that. They may give any number of reasons, but concrete is best one. If you cast as much as possible in one go, and if it is possible, you can cast columns and beams and slab in one go. That is best one. It's monolithic. Concrete monolithic is best one. And what is monolithic means, for example, column and beam and slab, if cast monolithic means one go, that is best one, but doesn't happen practically. It doesn't happen practically. If you cast your foundation and you stop column in one go, it's best one, but it doesn't happen practically. Lithic. What is monolithic? What is lithic? We have to understand mono plus lithic. And what is lithic? Earth, solid part of earth we call lithosphere. It's not earth. Earth means lithosphere plus aerosphere. So solid part of earth is called lithosphere or lith. This means lith is solid part. If this solid concrete is one unit in columns, beams and stuff, what else you want? It's best one, but practically it's not done. It's not easy. It's very difficult. Foundations and even plinth beams or foundation beams, you can call them. If these are done monolithic, it's nice. But it's not done. No problem. There is concession for that. People accept this, no problem. Though it's called monolithic casting, but generally beams and suspended slabs and left column at top, these are done in one go. So these are practically monolithic. But best alternative is do as early as possible after columns are cast upper portions which are to be monolithic. For this, only best thing is that this best construction joint, formed construction joint, best one, but here it's not happening. Generally people do not care for pouring methods and how to work on that. We are spending money on formwork, we spend money on reinforcement, we spend money on everything, we spend money on ready mix concrete or site mix, we spend money, but we are not spending attention and time on quality control methods where we lapse. I explained many times, concrete needs a work like a surgeon. Surgeon cuts it, surgeon removes and then repairs. But we design ourselves, we are our self X-ray producers, we define what we have to do and we do that. This is not surgeon, it is creation. It is creation world. Engineering is a creation world. We build, we produce, we use natural materials, aggregate or rock, you can say, rock dust, you can say, river sand, you can say, rock, cement, limestone, silica, water, chemicals, all these are natural produced materials. These cannot be made up materials. We use these materials to construct our patient, to construct our structure. My milestone is production of that structure or building or whatever it is skeleton of that body. Structure is anatomy of any building, anatomy of whatever product you are going to create. Anatomy of that one is structure. If the structure is not to mark, your system fails. Your system completely fails. No use of system. Unfortunately, our people are not trained, our workers are not trained, our foremen are not trained, our supervisors are not trained, and on top of that, our professionals lack that determination, that commitment. They lack. I have not seen any engineer standing at concrete or at pump to ensure work is done correctly. Very limited number of times they are not present. They leave everything to supervisors, the foreman to it. So our presence is missed there. We rely on someone ill-experienced, unknown person who doesn't know any ABCD of concreting. They do it. Ready-mix supplier is not interested. What's the result? Here's different system. Here, contractor is not responsible. He is not worried about what shall happen to quality of concrete, and owner doesn't know about that. So all system is completely broken, you can say. If you control this point in all members, system is automatically conformed. Nobody worries. Where everybody has to worry. From compaction, from soil improvement to complete structure. If you take care of that professionally, don't worry about finishes. Don't worry about cladding between these columns. These will automatically move. Once your structure is right, it's conformed to procedures, to specifications, to whatever demand is there, you are right, your structure is right. It requires total concentration, your concentration, your junior supervisor's concentration, and crew attention. I am really surprised here to see people do not know anything. What they do, they bring some mixer. I have seen many private buildings here where concrete is in, they bring some mixer in a winch and they fix winch to shuttering itself. You just think of. They, for to shuttering itself, they fix their winch and also connect below level to concrete itself, to concrete slab itself, which is cantilever in many cases. And they do that. And it's vibrates during they're doing, they don't bother. They produce very stiff mix sometimes and take through Teslas or your troughs and throw like that. Height of a person is hardly 1.5 meter or 1.6 meter, and if you throw like that, or they dump on slab itself, shuttering itself, formwork itself, you can say this much heap of concrete, you may say 0.6 meter, 0.7, some cases 1 meter height, they just heap a pool of them. Is that right way? Not right way. They disturb formwork, they disturb supports, formwork is already not level, they disturb covers, actually there are no covers sometimes. So they just, before work is done, deteriorate all preparatory works. Preparatory works means I am saying form work is a preparatory work, rebar cutting, fixing and exercise is a preparatory work. Everything is preparatory works because this is preparatory works for receiving permanent work. And concrete that is going into that preparatory work is called permanent work. This permanent work is based on bad temporary work, bad preparatory work. So what is benefit of that? Yes, we have done it. Slab is done. They do slab, for them it is done. I have not seen any quality system control anywhere. It may be government project, it may be private project, or it may be so-called top-class company project. Top-class company project here. I have not seen this system working here. Here many companies in my area, Faridabad Smart City Limited company is working. They have given contracts to L&T here. I am openly saying I have no grudge for anyone, but what I have seen, I have to speak. Someone has to speak. I took many photographs from this stormwater drain site. They are constructing a stormwater drain. Actually, it's not drain, it's a box. You can say kind of container for stormwater. A box maybe 1.2 meter inside and 1.2 height something, and then slab. It's complete RCC box, and that the way they are working is completely non-professional way. I am saying not because I am not sure about what design they are following. I just watch quality system they follow. It's a big company. They must be ISO compliant. It's maybe international company. I don't know international or world level they are. They may be calling world level, but their work produced is calling their rubbish. Completely rubbish. My heart sometimes is very angry. My mind is very angry. If I see this on, I'll slap on his face. Or if I see this in, I'll give 2 or 3 slaps on his face. After all, I'm a civil engineer. I'm not diplomat. I can't see bad work. If a civil engineer can accept bad work, that person cannot be called civil engineer. Let him go and sit in designs or somewhere else. I don't call designers as civil engineers because they are interested only in design and all that. They do not understand what's happening on site. They do not relate their work to site, unfortunately. Construction ability, buildability is absent from design people. That should be first criteria prior to starting design, but no one cares. So what this company is doing, I am really surprised. I had taken more than 60-70 snaps and put on their Facebook long back. It's all removed from there. You cannot criticize anybody in this country. You cannot criticize. What they do, let them do. That's all. Don't ask. Don't write. They burn your money, let them burn. Bad concrete is money or no. You are spending public fund, or even it is not public fund, you are spending material. You are doing complete rubbish work. You excavate, first of all, you break all services. What they do? There's a layout, they excavate every trench, the trench excavation, and whatever services do come on, they all break that. They don't know what their services are because there is no record drawing, there's no as-built drawing, there's no information on papers which service is passing through which area. There's no such information. Great work. Water line, they break. Sewer line, they break. Electric labor, they whatever is there, they don't, and they repair after that. Strange. First you break, then you repair. I've done it, I repaired it. Well, I don't say anything. I can't control it. It is beyond my control. This chief engineer duty, this is head engineer's duty of that department, that company. That person should take care. This is engineer's duty, superintendent engineer, executive engineer, whoever are there, it's their duty, or it's company's engineer duty, L&T people duty. But who bothers about duty? Who bothers about duty? Nobody bothers. I can only say that there is no control at all. Nothing else, nothing more than this. Yes, I have seen they are doing survey work, they fix levels. I have seen tie bolts in their wall shutters. Okay, that's there. But they take out bolts, holes are there. When they cast, when they start blinding concrete or lean concrete, there's no compaction, nothing. They just put on. They getting from ready-mix plant and use that. Nobody is there to take slump. Nobody knows what is temperature. Of course, this weather is not bad now, so I don't know. But even if they should record something, no one is there. This is one example I am telling you. I am not enemy to any company, but this is happening everywhere. I see private buildings, I see government buildings. I keep my head like this. What these bloody people understand? Nothing. They are doing their way. Whatever is convenient to them, they are doing it. So in such situation where 95 to 98% people do not take interest in quality or quality system because of various reasons, maybe they are. People don't understand or people don't bother, and there is no one to ask them. It's the engineer's duty to force them. Engineers sleeping. I am sitting in office taking cup of tea. Why should I? Okay, foreman, do like this, do like this, do like that. That's okay. Why to go there? Why to spend petrol on this? It's 3-4 kilometers from here. I have to see my wife today morning, today evening. I have to do that. I have to go to that birthday party or to that. Okay, let him do it. Do it. Finish class. Okay. If that attitude is here, what to do? Can you depend upon supervisor of contracting company? Who is contractor here? Nobody is professional contractor here. And nobody is professional engineer as well. I do not consider government engineers to be qualified to that extent because they are just interested in time pass and payments only. Payments only. Make payment to contractor. Being an engineer, I am alleging upon all engineering community. I don't blame upon administrators because they are not engineers. Engineer is above administration as far as quality risk is concerned. I don't blame administrator. I don't blame a state officer. I don't blame anybody else because this is not their job. This is job of engineers only, and engineers are missing this job unfortunately. And every day this quality is being degraded every day. So what is purpose of our designs? I don't understand. What is value of our designing community in this country? I don't understand. You design on paper and we were happy to see this is my design, this is my calculations, this is my stat pro, this is my ETA. What I do with that? If I am not delivering to site all this, there's no meaning. If my site is a bad shop, it's a bad workshop, it's a bad factory, it's a bad industry, your design is useless. Keep it with you and be happy with that. Same thing planning. Keep your colorful bar charts with you and shut up. That's it. What to say? Sometimes, maybe you call me mad, you may call me fool, you can call me anything. I don't mind that. This is actual, I'm telling you, reality of life. And if engineers do not learn, they shall not have any value worldwide. You may be whatever degree you have. You may be doctor, professor, whatever you are. No use. Proof checking is also a drama. Just seal and sign, that's it. Professor signed this. Professor. So what? Did professor check it? Did professor give an alternative way? No. I met someone, some contractor, and he said, okay, I can get proof check, no problem. I have seal of my professor. I put seal. He doesn't even bother seal and he just sign. Take up money and go. This is the status of working. And we are calling codes. We are changing codes. We are working on 4, 5, 6 change. Have you implemented previous one? Did you implement that one? Why did you not define some procedures, some methods in the code? Where is procedure statement? Nothing. Who shall define them? America for us? England for us? Who shall define for us? Here, we are all non-creative people. We cannot initiate something new. We cannot just argue. Oh, code says this is provision. Why it is, how it is, what it should be, how it should be. Nobody talks how site is working. Nobody talks. Not even 1% engineers talk how site is working. What's your use? Everybody is structural engineer. Everyone. You just pass BSc engineering or come out of, I am structural engineer. I am MTech, I am a structural engineer. How many structures did you deliver? How many you designed? Of course you designed, but how many did you work on construction? I am not construction engineer, I am design engineer. But did your design work properly? Is it working properly? Did you ever ensure? No one ensures because they never go to site to make sure it's working and they are not paid to go to site, whatever is it. I don't go into details. Well, my explanation for quality control is completely an objective to relate it to quality system because Quality control is very much part integrated on quality system ISO 9001 2015 Annex SL. If this system does this control is not a part of that, there is no system then. All others are theoretical paper. How organization is working, how is not working, that description has no value when you are working to control activities. That is a direction how organization is working. But you are part of organization. You are a part of that management circuit. You are a part to lead that powerful institution organized on site, and that is workers, that is machine equipment, that is material, that is a kind of mini institution of working on site. If you are heading that and you are not able to successfully deliver that activity, then your whole system fails. This system of ISO is subject to an understanding that competent people, competent professionals perform their duties on site. If they don't perform, then forget this system. There is no requirement of any system if you are not systemized yourself. Engineering education is top education in the world. There is no other education that can compete with engineering education. This is not easy. It's an exclusively program, exclusively difficult, top difficult education is engineering, and that is particularly civil engineering. You may say, what I'm barking? Yes, I'm barking. You know, you are civil engineers, you know how much study you have done, theoretically, calculation wise, formula wise, mathematics wise, construction wise, physics, chemistry wise, English wise. Is there something you did not do? How many hours you spend in workshops, how many hours you spend in laboratories, how many hours you spend on surveying, how many hours you do in theory of structure and designs. Which other profession does it tell me? Which other profession tells me? Engineering is a vast field where you have to define something, whereas there is no other field that can define something. Even medical science is confined to procedures already defined. You are not going to work to procedure you already defined, but you have to define new procedures. You have to define new designs. You have to define new research. You have to define everything for every project. And that is what engineering education is all about. You have to think, you have to create, you have to imagine, and you have to improve. That's what's a plan, PDCA we call it. PDCA, we plan it, do it, check it, amend it. Act means amend it. So you are having freedom in this profession to create everything. Means you are creating body first, design. Doctor does not create anything. Doctor just based on tests prescribes treatment. This is your treatment, nothing else. And even if surgeon is there, that surgeon conducts surgery. That's also defined how to conduct that. In CA, everything is defined. In law profession, every act is there, every regulation is there. You have to just link and interpret. Teacher has same work every year, no change. Just tell me which other field exists that has to work like new and new work. For civil engineer, every project is new, every design is new, and this poor civil engineer should apply new methods all time and work accordingly. So there is a difference. This difference we have to understand. Yes, we don't have material value, we don't have salary, we don't have high salary, we don't have high respect. We don't have, I know. We are not socially recognized. No problem. Whatever constraint is there, whatever lapse is there in value of recognition, in you can say money earning, but don't forget, they may not recognize you, they may not listen to you, they may treat you badly, but without you, they are failure. Without you, whole administration is failure. Without you, government is failure. Without you, whole nation is failure. Whole society is failure. Because you have to do ultimately. Air may be polluted, but you cannot live without air. Same thing is your profession. They don't value you. You are bad. You are corrupt. But they have to go with you. No other way. Without you, nation stops. And that is what is power of civil engineer, electrical engineer, mechanical engineer. These engineers are fundamental engineers, founding engineers, founding of engineering, founding of cities, founding of, you can say, forest to cities, conversion of forest to cities. These engineer absent means you cannot develop. We have to take it this way. Don't worry about recognition, but your service is already required. All world needs your service. All world. Ours more. They don't speak anything because they don't know anything. And if they know it, they will catch you. So, my statement has some meaning. And meaning is that do not underestimate yourself. Yes, you may not be recognized like architects are. You may not be valued like IAS officers are. You may not be valued like judges are or lawyers are. It doesn't make a difference. They are recognized because they had less value. Simple. You are recognizing your own. Your delivery of project speaks of yourself. It declares someone was there. Of course, your name is not written there, doesn't make a difference. But you are there. You are there. You have to recognize self. You have to recognize self because this is a country of deficient consideration, of deficient thinking. All other countries are not same. Therefore, to successfully move yourself into a system, you have to empower that system more and more. Do not take negative points into your life. Take forceful points into your life. Move them. Control is pulled. It is snatched. Power is snatched. Power is snatched. Their power is not given by someone to you. You have to take it yourself. We are not interested in power, but we are only interested in recognition. Remember, if building collapses due to whatever reason, to whom blame goes? Blame goes to engineers. Even though there was no engineer employed on that project, blame goes to engineer. Oh, engineer did not care, everybody would say. Even if it is collapse, shuttering collapses, common thing is engineer's responsibility. Then they would say builder's responsibility. If your structure fails due to designs or due to whatever reason, and you were not there, nobody was there, builder did itself, this engineer did not take care of this. Means ultimately you are going to earn bad name, come what may, in whatever way. So bad name is also a good name these days. Every minister is bad, all government is bad, but they are named. In this world, bad name or good name doesn't make a difference. You are a criminal, you become politician later on. See, beauty of conversion. Come out of jail and go to some ministry. So why you worry about that? But you imagine If you are strict on your activity, if you are strict on your work and supervision, there is no one who can change you. No builder, no promoter, no one. If everybody acts that way, civil engineers particularly and electrical, mechanical also along with them are called change agents. We are all change agents because we change everything. Remember time when there was only stonework? Buildings were constructed only of stones. No bricks were there, only stones, cutting into different shapes and constructing walls and foundations. And then there were some wooden members on roof level, wooden members, some curries like that, some steel members, and on there some stone slab placed, and then roofing was done. That was also a time. And that was a time when the hut meant only, not even stones. And there was a time when bricks were evolved, bricks came and structures were, and then came RCC and pre-stressed and structural steel. All time changed from one way to other way. This means you proposed something and that was done. It was not no politician. It was someone else. Engineering and scientists created all this. And this change of material changed the whole world. And that's why we call engineers are agents of change. And engineers include scientists and scientists include engineers. So if you are agents of change, you have to change it. If you cannot change it, you are not working. So we have to change bad quality environment to good quality environment. Can't we change that? Very simple. We have to change it. This is job of engineer. Do not complain that I have no power. My acts are overruled. Yes, your acts are overruled because there is another person who can replace you. But if engineer as a community determines that we are not going to do bad work, then who can replace you? Even if you are replaced, that person will act same way. This means we have to change basics of our mind, basics of our minds. Somebody told me, architect says, do not worry, follow what owner says. And that engineer followed. This means that person is not engineer, that person just consider about, okay, architect is my boss and I have to take money from architect or salary, why should I worry? Either this alternative or rigid attitude, you have to decide yourself. If you cannot oppose, better avoid civil engineering, better. No use. Because first of all, civil engineering means you should be rigid, you should be aggressive, you should be powerful, you should be rough, you should be non-diplomatic as well as diplomatic. And you are a conductor as well as an insulator. Your ohms power should be high, you should have high resistance, and you should have high insulation power. If you don't have that, better do not come to this field of civil engineering. Because this is a field of rough people. This is a field where physical and mental power is required. This is a field where your anger is required. Your anger is also a potential to do work. Because you have to deal with all classes of people. Intelligent people, brilliant people, and lowest class of laymen, layperson, who do not know anything except to do physical job, and for that they are forced to do it. If you cannot do that, do not enter this turbulent field of civil engineering, because this field doesn't suit you, because you are used to good life, you are used to city life, you are used to hotels and restaurants and dating and here and there, then civil engineering is no field for you. Because civil engineering means you have to stay in society-less environment, you have to stay in forest and woodlands and jungles and in deserts. If you cannot do that, if you cannot do that, you want to stay with your society, then civil engineer society is different. I have been in certain areas where I could not see even dogs for 2 or 3 years. Such areas I have seen in my career. I have seen such areas where there was no good food. I just survived on certain potato and salad, tomato you can say, and that's it. And ready-made chapatis in Arab world. So if you want to be a civil engineer, you don't expect your life to be very luxurious. Yes, you may be having good accommodation in your desert where your guest won't be coming, your guest only your colleagues may come, not your you can say social people would come. Your wife may not be there, your mother may not be there, you will be there for years together. So, of course, you will not get any money. But don't forget, absence of civil engineers means absence of development. You cannot develop, society cannot develop if you are not there. This is bad time, bad luck that in our country they are not respected because they are redundant, they are more than required, and it's everywhere like that. Well, this is some other discussion which I am going into, the social discussion. I was inclined to Annex SL. Annex SL demands what I am saying actually. Annex SL says you have to treat human relations as well. If you include this in your context of organization, because they says resources, right? Resources is also very powerful instrument. Who are human resources? Our workers, our colleagues, they are all human resources. So they should be treated accordingly. That is also your qualification, that how you treat them. It's your personality that makes them. Yes, they may talk in a polite way. They may not express you in a qualified way because they are not paper-wise literate. They are not literate like others should be, but they know their job. That is more important. For me, a mason is more important than an IAS officer because this mason does something for nation. For me, a carpenter, former carpenter or some other person is more important to me than some other person. Because this person is working for me, this person does something for me which I cannot do myself. That person knows job, how to do it, that person can understand, that person can comply with your instruction, but only difference is that person cannot express in writing or in better words to communicate to me or to someone else. But it is for all over the world, it's not in my country alone. All over is like that. You can talk to Misr guy, you can talk to Syrian guy, you can talk to Lebanon guy, you can talk to whoever you have with you. They will speak in same language except their own languages. Question is only consent is different, their language, because they express in their own language, mother tongue. But mindset is same. I have seen this. So why should you worry? I consider my crew more important than those people who do nothing. If I don't have crew, I can do nothing. Simple. This is not one-man job, this is a team job. If crew is not there, what shall you do? Take a bell and ring it, that's it. So you have to keep this psychology in mind, that human resource is very powerful resource in our construction field. You are also human resource. You as human resource, you have to take care of your junior human resource. And that's also a point in quality management. If quality of your people cannot be changed, you cannot enhance their working skills, you cannot teach them, you cannot communicate to them, your capability is in doubt, your competency is in doubt. If you cannot handle with them, you cannot communicate to them successfully what is required. You have to stand and tell them, do it like this. One time you have to tell them, second time you tell them, third time certainly they would do it. But that is your initiative. Once you train them, then don't worry. You just keep a watch on them, survey on them, surveillance them. That is an only way training can be imparted to people. You can impart training of safety, you can impart training of environmental controls on site, you can impart training of technical management. Then what? They are not responsible to buy material for you. You have to buy yourself. You have to take material management control in your hands. You have to take drawings management control in your hand. You have to take all other resources management control in your hand. But if these people are trained, as I said, if they understand what they are going to do procedure wise, then you can say 50% of your headache is over. Yes, you have to explain to them verbatim in their language if you know, or through someone else. If you write them in English, okay, give to some responsible person and tell them to speak to them. So many ways are there. And that is where our NXSL come into picture, means this desktop organization, resources as are there, required resources portion, all can be managed and upgraded. Those persons who can understand this are actually engineers, in my definition. If means whatever you learned in your engineering scheme, you are able to apply that. You learned it actually, you forgot it. You learned everything. As in engineering education, how to deal with human resources is also taught. What is social science is also taught. You might have not studied that, that is different. And even if you miss that study, it doesn't matter that you are barred from study. Self-study it and learn it. So NXXL, what I was going through is this explanation I gave you about quality control is very important to be taught again and again, because people forget. If quality control it's not question of testing alone. Testing is another part. I am not talking about tests. I am talking about management. Quality prosecution management is much more important. Remember, concrete got no solution if it is done wrongly. It's done violating specifications and violating procedures. But other items can be controlled. Brickwork can be controlled, blockwork can be controlled. Even if it is done against procedures, it can be amended, or you can take out wall and do again. It doesn't make big issue. But concrete has restrictions. Concrete doesn't respond to you. Once it is done, you cannot do anything against it. That is a problem only. Concrete repairs, concrete rework are very time consuming and expensive and actually risks. There is no risk control on this. You cannot say that I take opportunity on this. If concrete is badly done, means it is finished. You cannot do in that anything. So you have to be very careful about this permanent material, this permanent inclusion on every project. You may be calling it's only concrete, but it's dangerous if done wrongly. If done under, you can say, substandard way, it is your enemy. It is loss of your reputation. It's loss of your respect. Because there are two types of losses. First is assets spent on this, you spent money on that production of concrete doing it, that money has gone. Then you have to break it, that money will gone after bringing, you spend money on that, and then again you have to do it. So time, quality of course doesn't exist because it's wrong work, and then money has gone, and then rework. So how much time you're going to take on that? So your cost, time, and quality management are all disturbed. Your quality is disturbed, your time is disturbed, and your money is disturbed. This means you are completely disturbed. That is where I am stressing about quality first. In consideration, you take little pain, first you teach yourself what I have to do, and you have to produce a statement on that, how I have to do. And then you can move further. You teach others because you are a teacher for your supervisors, for your foremen, for your workers. You are teacher. And sometimes you are teacher to your honor also, because your honor may not be professional, so you have to teach that. You have to do that. You have to teach your staff. You have to teach all those who are in relation to you, with you on project. You have to do this if you want to jump into quality system. So that day I was I was talking about this. So NXSL I have talked. I put NXSL file off when there are 7 points, which I again repeat better for that what these points are actually, so that you remember them. Just pro forma point I am telling you, not going to details. These are, I can say here, point number one, clause number one is scope. Clause number two is normative references, and clause number three is terms and conditions. Clause number four is context of organization. Clause five is leadership, and clause six is planning. Clause seven is support, and clause eight is operation. Clause nine is performance evaluation. Clause 10 is improvement. These are 10 points in this, and now I move to move to this, our continuation of ISO 9001. It's continuation of, let me just blow it up. This is Annex SL. This is a company plus EPC contracting facilities and buildings construction template. I had gone through this last time in my last talk yesterday. It has gone through. I was just moving on these pages. I had covered clause 1, clause 2, clause 3, clause 4, and I was moving accordingly. I'm just now again moving on to that. I explained to you about various issues concerned in this. I explained to you about text of organization. I explained to all that in this. I'll explain to ING tanks and compressors solutions, and I explained to you about cracking gas, etc., and seawater basin, and then also say, many other such stationary, as well as, means so many points. So there's some chambers, and then open ditches and piping and FRP, and of course you can say I explained to you about pipe racks and heat tracing, pipe support sleepers and pipe supporting sleepers and access platforms, RCC box culverts, receiving basin, five flare tower, pump houses, then general, then this is component of other facilities. Then I explained to you about sulfur and reliability and availability. All this I explained to you in continuation. Then that is out for the, I'm just scanning page and where it was. means then feasibility, etc. And then I reached to all these through explanations, and then normative references were there in which I talked of details of his SCADA and just of his SCADA, and various disciplines involved that I explained to you that. I'll just move down further. So I don't repeat that all because the time. Then project charter, I was talking of project charter, and then we were talking of something. Then I'm talking of means what leadership was, what is leader, and leadership I explained. Then we go down further, and it was planning. I was talking of planning, and planning which is class 6, and then planning we just said that in planning what was there, and I'll say that I further talked about this support. So I'll now start with planning again just to overlap and refresh, because just moving further without previous overlap won't work. So now I'm leadership I'm not doing because I've done that. So I am talking from class 6 planning now. What is planning all about? Means you have to understand that point. Says that clause 6 planning means actions. What should it include? It should include actions to address risks and opportunity, management system objectives, and planning to achieve these objectives. Now what we have to consider in this? Let us consider risk-based thinking in this. Means you have to bring a risk-based, you have to consider risk and then you think how to plan. So this way you can get your risk and opportunity both. So what are points now? Bring risks, considerations to forefront. Then once your organization pinpoints or you pinpoint risks and opportunities, means you have to work out how to resolve that risk and address through planning. Means your planning can solve if you anticipate some risks are there. You can know how to handle those risks. Of that, then what, who, how, and when these risks be addressed. Means timing you have to decide, what you have to do that you have to decide, who will do that you have to decide, how that will live, and all this you have to take into your considerations. And then this approach replaces preventive actions. Means if you think this way, you then what would happen? You should not have worried before, because you can control risk. If you can control risk, you can control any element, any bad activity you can control. And then it is means I say once we can control this and that. So it's not moving. Something wrong. It's not moving. Then you can say what I have to do is in this case is little different. That what did I say that this approach replaces preventive action and reduces risk for corrective action later. Objectives of management system should be measurable, communicated, aligned to management system policy, and updated as and when required. So let us talk in details now about planning. Planning work, in fact, planning work in fact starts with when project charter is open for certain bid. That time you start your planning. Planning work starts in fact when project charter is open for me say your page is gone somewhere. Yeah. Planning works, in fact, starts with when project charter is opened for certain bid. Much has been stated about project charters and company considerations in scope frame. Company organization starts thinking on project requirement, project aspects, and all risks involved and all other restraints that may come in way of project from whatever source due to facts that billions of dollars are spent on whatever plants facilities are designed and erected, which no company may spend without a thorough consideration by its think tank. Company organization has a basic right whether to go or not to go for certain projects depending on its financial credit limits or budgetary provisions sanctioned by state or other available current business expenditure, which may not allow additional plant facility business currently for a specific period of few months or years depending on company organization funding potential. Once company organization decides on its charters to go for project, formal planning commences with immediately with naming team head, project manager or leader, so that top key lead personnel would share all ins and out of that project. Charter writes all details relevant to project, its funding sources, and all stakeholders involved. All risks should have been considered in all respects prior to agreeing on charter for doing project irrespective of whether or not it is affected. What points can be considered risks in facility construction facility management, not easy to list out in one go. ISO 9001-2015 requires to think in terms of risk management virtually and not just risk prevention. Every risk and restraint should be studied in details to sort out relevant adverse imposing factors and to work out to eliminate those factors or to overcome them prior to risk starts entering into project life. And also such state of risk analysis can lead to get opportunity to expand business. Leaders leaders must by virtue of their valuable experience post academic qualifications understand what risk would be encountered on such projects and what are possible resolutions to remove these risks. Prior to these position in on project prior to these position in on project progress. Risks can occur on various profiles which can be forecast, analyzed, and understood easily by experienced and pragmatic professionals. And once such risks are evaluated, an alternative solution on or risk solution based on its elimination can also be charted out so that no obstacle comes on to project progress. Business processes based risks are considered. Business processes based risks are considered and resolved by top leaders, while site based risks are dealt with site representatives, depending on each risk item evolving in during works or prior to works commence with. Scheduling planners, scheduling I'm talking, which is a part of planning. Planners should not, without thought, back up just chart out schedules without thoroughly understanding and including all impacts on relative activities, bars, and allowing adequate time to resolve risks as as pointed out. Schedules should be so clear to be understood by all relevant professionals working on project and not just be certain document exhibiting many colorful schedules without having any practical meaning, as sometimes it happens that planners just to impress management do so. Planners must Planners must enter into thorough contemplation and discussions with responsible personnel and leaders who would carry out operations so that facts and problems are exposed. Since planners cannot impose upon work from lead planners, work from sorry, let me say again. Planners must enter into thorough contemplations and discussions with responsible personnel and leaders who would carry on operations so that facts and problems are exposed. Since planners cannot impose upon work front leads planners own imagination or onto practical works which require team cooperation at all times. Examples for certain risks could be, as I mentioned earlier, hereinafter which project and contracting planners should think in same language so that these are covered within schedules at all levels. Risk be that plot is not in state of acquisition due to legal obstructions, site is not clearly located due to coordinates not explicitly defined, which requires immediate resolution by coordinating with relevant authorities to locate designs or plant coordinates. Risk with that site is located, but some issues exist for giving its clearance so that it will not be taken over by company successfully, either in part or in full, which require attention by company team and engineer to operate relevant law to coordinate with statutory or other bodies for a resolution in case it relates to those bodies, whereas risk related to other factors. Engineer and state should work jointly in collaboration how to come out of risk impact. Risk with that site is running underneath with many live services which require detailed investigation and later either be relocation or let me now location or diversion, which detailed survey must be done either by company self or by certain competent agency or otherwise. Consult situation from record drawings obtained from statutory bodies, which assistance should be extended by statutory bodies to engineer, and thereafter application should be made to relevant involved authority to either remove that service if no more required to serve vicinity or to divert that service, depending upon what authority decides, but whatever decision requires to be taken should be taken without any loss of time. Risk be that, let me stand up. Stand comfortably tired, yeah. Risk be that information required from company is not available in time, which can contribute waste potential work hours. To avoid which time wastage due to contractor should in writing and by conducting meetings in person obtain required missing information or clarification. Risk with that site surveys are not conducted in time due to non-availability of site exploration agency vendor, which must be conducted by appointing surveying agency duly approved by company engineer so that a professional reporting related to geographical and geotechnical be made for review and approved by company engineer. Risk be that site soil exploration is not carried out in time per schedule due to non-availability of site exploration agent. Vendor which should be expedited if prime contract constitute this requirement so that its adverse impact to delay foundations and thereby works on substructure. Risk with that design division delays issue of required drawings to avoid which delays close coordination between engineer and designers be conducted by efforts of company and contractor if possible in addition to formally writing to engineer and designers. Risk with that subcontractors proposals are not submitted by prime contractor in scheduled time, which must be submitted in time in case relevant vendors have been finalized by contractor or else this issue being extremely significant, all attempts should be made in person by leader project managers to chart out complete strategy so that all submissions of subcontractors could be made in time as earliest as possible or else all work shall delay automatically. Risk be that curriculum vitae related to key personnel are not proposed by contractor for approval per schedule which must be presented by submission to company engineer at beginning of contract if feasible or else should be submitted at an early opportunity so that company engineer may conduct respective interviews of key personnel to ensure their fitness for development on project job. Risk be that Risk be that construction services engineer delays issues related to allied drawings which must be corrected with by adopting foregoing paragraph mentioned resolutions so that after approvals of subcontractors all impending submissions could be made expeditiously. Risk be that construction work contract payment are not released in scheduled time from company which must be followed up once valuation statement is made and approved by company engineer. Since approved since approved payment certificate may assist contractor to source bank source bank for further release of funds for project activities. Risk be that material submissions are delayed by contractor, which is not a pleasing state, yet it happens because contractors purchase section keeps trying various vendors for equivalent specifications and discounted delivery price. But such delays should be avoided so that accumulative delays to whole project be prevented. Risk be that shop and working drawing submissions are delayed by contractor, which too is a normal state on projects, but should be prevented by personal involvement by leader of project. Risk be that contractor delays on submission of method statements required to be approved by company supervising management team. But this is not acceptable since statements can be prepared in time should qualified and experienced professionals are available on project staffing strength. Risk be that site safety operations are not conducted adequately, which adequate which adequate care must be taken by safety divisions complying with safety plan and OSHA related rules and regulations. Risks be that vessels are delivered in time but cannot be erected, installed due to non-availability of foundations. Risk be that site accidents are caused due to crane access is allowed onto soft, uncompacted ground resulting in soil subsidence. and delays on activities, operations, which scenario also results in claims and counterclaims between various contracting parties. Engineering coordination. All following risks related issues can be checked by intensive engineering coordination from very inception of award of contract to practical or mechanical completion of contract. Every leader responsible for tasks should follow progress by all interactive persons, all times, and status updated and communicated to all responsible key personnel. Issues should be raised in internal as well as in external meetings with all others whosoever involved. All minutes of meetings should be recorded and communicated to whosoever involved, personnel, formally. Later on, giving reminders and further follow-up of related activity update. If in fact an excellently performing coordinating engineer or manager, each shall be required to be appointed by both company, prime contractor, and supervising agency so that regular review of contract requirements and follow-up for resolutions may be made whenever be necessary. It has been observed that deliveries related to bulk materials which are imported from overseas cause delay due to various factors, such as delay on appointment of vendors due to rates and supply related terms and conditions, LCs, opening, delaying on material approvals, delays on customs, etc., which points must be taken care of in due time. Disputes. There would be many more causes that mar site potential to achieve targets early, but it has to be made sure that due to such carelessness as not to resolve all such issues in as short time as possible. Disputes may arise during contract currency and thereafter as well, leading various parties to request for disputes resolution and in case of dissatisfaction refer such disputes to arbitration. It is therefore in interest of all contracting parties to induct DAB above company engineer so that current disputes could be referred to on project DAB, which term in its full form as Disputes Adjudication Board as defined within ambit of FIDIC FEDEC 2005 Standard Conditions of Contract, Red Book or Yellow Book, or other book of FIDIC which is worldwide acceptable. DAB keeps DAB keeps in watch on all activities, operations, project progress, and achievements, while all disputes can be referred by whatever party to contract to DAB during project execution currency and when parties are dissatisfied by decision of DAB, later reference can be made to arbitration. Arbitration, it's fortunate that Bharat, India has Specific Arbitration Act 1996 with Ordinance 2015 and further amendments, which is very powerful such as such forcing arbitrators to adjudicate reference dispute within a period of 12 months if it is domestic, and if requested an additional fee to be fast-tracked within a period of 6 months. Maximum allowed period is 18 months with court support, or else arbitrators are accountable to court, and that is for domestic one. For international is different. Arbitration tribunal is empowered to status of a court for purpose of arbitration award, recognized being considered by statute as court decree. Every even during appeal, no stay is granted to avoid execution until other party applies for stay to avoid execution. It's also been included on mandate that trade practice shall be duly regarded by tribunal. Contracting parties should make use of new provisions which empower arbitration for many new provisions. It should also be kept in view that arbitration can be managed successfully when complete communication documents are on records related to whatever issue in arbitration brought into. To comply with arbitration requirements, contracting parties need services by experienced engineers who understand all loops and holes within loops that can support arbitration claims, or else party would have during arbitration proceedings would lose during arbitration proceedings. Parties must comply with provisions within contract and each included condition should be examined very closely in relation to project and analyzed accordingly to find material out of it. Contract conditions. All conditions must be operated whenever it is so required during project currency, whether on low profiles or on high priority profiles, and should not be left to be looked into later, since later means nothing in contracting commercial world. Now I come to clause 7, that support. And what actually support is resources, competence, awareness, communication, documented information. I repeat, resources, competence, awareness, communication, documented information. What points we have to consider? Let us read that. Material, equipment and human resources, capacity, potential of organization and individual, qualification of personnel, awareness among all pertinent system and its functioning, written job description, work procedures, safety procedures, quality control procedures, administration methods. Documented information is different than documentations. Whatever information about management and procedures or processes, whatever form, such as written text, maps, charts, designs, successful implementation, evidence of compliance of requirements. No system of documents but evidentiary available documents as for reference and for future use, documented information. So let's move on by one like this. Support for a company promoting facility. Support for a company promoting facility project is drawn from state or nation or from public. A state has to decide about project plan and provide continuous funding on an yearly basis so that project is delivered to state in defined time. Internationally, support is required from companies, overseas partners and associates who are equally stakeholders within company's management board. Company requires in-depth engineering support from various competent and authentic sources. Company requires supports for land acquisition for its immediate development. Company requires paid support from its contractors in all dedicated and devoted commitment for successful delivery of built and performing project. Support for a prime contracting organization means many types of project activities conducted both from its corporate or head office as well as from side office and also from its other infrastructural facilities such as its maintenance yard, which be a centralized location to serve all buildings and other projects from it. Support is classified into human resources, mechanical resources, professional management resources, knowledge dissemination resources, communication procurement management, safety management, quality management, infrastructure financing resources, etc. Support resources required by construction organizations depend on type and working nature of organizations, which in current case is energy services contracting organization. In this case, organization is EPC energy services and EPC energy services and buildings specialized contractor who would require support resources related to its different ingredients and total requirements, which commences from initial designs to delivery of project as a whole or as a part as contract agreement demands. Contracting organization may be a prime general contracting or may be only a small or medium level contractor who would require support resources accordingly. Degree of competence is very significant for required support resources, which would be required depending upon types of support resources. Degree of competence means educational qualification plus professional experience and consistency of experience with updated knowledge. Degree of competency also means trade qualifications plus professional experience and consistency of experience with continued development of practical knowledge. Degree of competency also means experience and knowledge based on maturity and work advancement to be conducted independently. And degree of competence also means complete understanding of work applications with all kinds of technical and equipment support with decades of field experience. Degree of competency means also means vary from person to person, since professional engineer is supposed to have engineering discipline, competency in designs or in execution of projects construction, while a tradesperson would be required to have competency related to trade operations only. A general foreman shall be required to have specialist knowledge related to his area of work responsibility, while a foreman associated with general foreman would be required to work on lower areas but with full command on related operations independently. A division leader would be expected to have engineering professional degree with long years of experience, with multidiscipline knowledge for working and application purpose based on interface and intercoordination. A quality division leader would be required to have engineering professional degree with complete backup of code provisions, specifications, working procedures, testing and inspection in depth knowledge, so that all ITPs, checklists, and method statements can be produced meeting trade and professional requirements. An estimation division leader would be required to have a professional engineering degree with many years of estimation and valuation experience, with complete backup of item rates, procurement prices, required technicalities of various types of materials, and equipment with high degree of quantity surveying practice and power of negotiations. A complete understanding of construction contracts such as FIDIC or NEC based formats must be known to such leaders, who must have detailed knowledge of contracts and arbitration. A procurement division leader must be thorough in materials engineering for purpose of screening and charting out quotations, analysis, and operational research over that. A planning and scheduling division leader must be a professional engineer with thorough knowledge of engineering and prosecution method with sequence of operations and application of required time for each operations. A planning engineer must have attained a status to understand risks and risk resolution, or else such engineer would not be able to respond to risks, leading to keep area of concern unforeseen. Similarly, site leader must have all engineering requirements with decades of experience and skills to check, review and chart out site issues efficiently, due to fact that site leader represents organization on front of project, who therefore must be extended all demanded support from other corporate leaders. It's a major requirement that all leaders must be fully aware about project requirements and about system applications, while in turn must train juniors to keep complete required understanding to an extent job responsibility demands. All leaders and associates must keep update on system requirement, as well as whatever changes are brought into system management structure from time to time throughout currency of project. If so required, related training to all personnel should be imparted to keep them refreshed, just as training regarding safety discipline is imparted regularly. Suggestions should be invited from all personnel without any hesitation, so that what works in minds of personnel be exposed, and if good should be included within system. Every organization is owner of many resources such as heavy equipment, batching plants, concrete pumps, concrete transporting trucks, electrical equipment, middle level equipment, as well as various others. All major size organizations do own many equipment for their projects, drawing benefits on their investment due to fact that they do not need hire all such machines, while they are free to rent them to other organizations. Organizations owning various heavy equipment are generally considered having better work potential and favored during bids consistency and comparison stages. All supporting items must be supported by documentary evidences, and formally a list of such supporting resources should be ready and attached with bid strength. Also, supporting resources list should be updated all time and presented for examination and inspection if so required by owner and engineer, to ensure that provided information is authentic and that contractors' assurance that such resources will be available during scheduled construction period. On similar pattern, list of human resources and subcontracting details must be provided and demonstrated if so demanded by engineer for verification. Major equipment that could be presented on list being tower crane, mobile crane, shovels, excavators, rock breakers, concrete pumps, trucks and dumpers, winches, concrete mixers, etc., etc., etc. Clause 8 operation. Clause 8 is operation. What it says, it includes operational planning and control. Points for considerations are in-house process, outsource the process, overall process management includes adequate criteria to control these processes and manage planned and unintended changes. So what we say now, company preparation of bid documents to be issued to bidder. Company shall issue documents to bidder. Company is responsible to prepare all bid related documents that are required to be based on EPC bids. These documents comprises pre-feed, feed, schematic, designs, drawings, all disciplines requirements and specifications and list of all codes that apply to project. Contract form. Contract form is also designed and design its proposed format, which comprises of lump sum price for whole project or part of a project. Various forms for bonds such as tender bond, performance security bond, description of project time damage for delay, damages for performance failure. Format for key personnel to be proposed by prime contractor from leader to key personnel related to all divisions involved on project. Formats for equipment schedule bidder contractors intends to use on project. Formats for execution statement, bidder contractors chart its strategy of project prosecution. Formats for execution statement, bidder contractors charts its strategy of project prosecution, provided with all required support such as human resources, workforce, equipment, material procurement, escrow, cash flow through project execution, currency, and various other similar details. Bills of quantity BOQ duly filled in all respects by bidder contractor for purpose of guidance only, which lump sum indicated on BOQ to be binding on bidder contractor. Bill of quantities are prepared for each and every structure or foundations of equipment individual, so that certain deletions or additions could be managed without any issue. Formats for list of materials bidder contractor proposed to procure from. Formats for list of equipment and vessels bidder contractor proposed to procure from, and list of all rates of materials and workers per day, chargeable if so required to be deployed for company by bidding contractor, bidder contractor, EPC bidder contractor. Now, bidder receives all bid documents and analyzes each and every aspect contained within bid. Charter is opened and all details are entered for detailed discussion and brainstorming. Scope involved on project is studied and assessed with capacity of bidder. Assessment of approximate bid cost is made based on major quantities of materials involved and type and number of vessels and equipment involved. Assessment is made on suitability of bid and project execution period, keeping in view current projects ongoing in organization. Bidder reaches a decision whether or not to bid submission or to return bid documents with regret due to being overloaded. In general, experience confirms that major bids are accepted by bidder for submission so that reputation of organization is made up. Charter is confirmed by board with required declaration. Works on bids working out for pricing commences with. Complying with due process bids are worked out in details by estimation division, supported in all respects by all other divisions. Bid is processed in two volumes, one being technical bid and other commercial bid, with both having different formats and sequence orders. Technical bid contains all details related to engineering and technical activities, while pricing relates parts and included within commercial bid package. Bid work is also supported by external vendors from within whom bid pricing related to their discipline is invited. Whenever necessary, classifications are obtained from company regarding whatever unclear issues. Once all details have been collected from market as well as from in-house working, all details and data are conferred in bid meeting internally so that a final work on bid starts. Final price is decided by leader of bid organization, keeping abreast expected profits or lower profits so that a competition is made with other bidders. Final price is entered in required bid package. An alternative bid is also presented if so demanded by company. All bid documents prepared by estimation teams finally complied in professional, orderly manner, and estimation leader closes tender for submission to company on or before a bid closer appointment hour or day. Company receives bid, then company opens and scrutinizes received bids and commences with negotiations with lowest price bidders. Company opens technical bid and goes through all details, whether or not complying with bid requirements. Report is prepared by company to ensure degree of conformity with bid requirements. Then, after being satisfied by technical bid, commercial bid is opened and ensured its conformance to bid conditions, whether is called for bid negotiations. Company prime contract or negotiations. Prime contractor negotiations. Upon scrutiny of bid, let me sit down a little. Prime contract negotiations. Upon scrutiny of bids, company call bidder for various clarifications and confirmations that bidder complied with bid provisions, while no deviations from contract and specification would be accepted to company. Bidder submits all clarifications pertinent availability of material and equipment with confirmation that all materials involved have been based on current and valid quotations received from vendors. Company may require demonstration about bidder's execution program and may like to ensure that all risks have been considered by bidder during computing bid price. Company may Company may satisfy its doubts by clarifications obtained and conduct meetings in series with bidder for clearly understanding capacity and consistency that bidder has submitted for considerations. Company may also intend to deliberate with bidder about alternate bid submitted by bidder and try to extract from that degree of value engineering applied on original bid to work out alternative. In case company evaluates that alternative bid is certainly better than original bid, it may approve alternative bid for execution. Or else company would exclusively consider only original bid for purpose of concluding bid to status of EPC contract. After conducting many meetings for complete negotiations with all responsible disciplines leaders and all resolution of contract matters, an award by company to bidder may be tracked in. Company communicates to bidder about finalization of bids subject to certain conditions based on technical corrections that should be fulfilled by bidder in a defined duration. Contractor works out and submits responsive details and revises bid price or content or BOQ item rates depending upon query raised by company. Contractor also works out what is especially required for clarity by company. Relevant documents are submitted for further review by company. Company may demand performance bond of requisite sum from contractor per bid conditions. Once company is fully satisfied with bid and capability exhibited by bidder, company would issue an appointment letter to bidder designating it as EPC prime contractor with given scope of work. Sorry. A date would be fixed on this intent letter for EPC contractor designate to enter into a contract agreement with company in a company for bid project, and date of commencement of project execution is fixed immediately. Company instructs the contractor to contact given coordinates with company appointed engineer for EPC contract administration management and deal with such authority accordingly for further execution of EPC contract. EPC contractor is instructed to propose mobilization plan for approval and mobilize site temporary infrastructure and camp infrastructure for contract conditions and plans included within contract. Later, a kickoff meeting is conducted between company and all its leaders and EPC contractor and all its leaders for further follow-up project by both parties to EPC contract. Then post-award of EPC contract, Company prime responsibility and obligations are to push surveillance and control all operations conducted by EPC contractor. Company has to press contractor to submit its master schedule or level 1 schedule within 14 days of contract commencement date. Further level schedules up to further level schedules up to level 5, we submit company in stages as defined or agreed. Company has to press contractor to submit 21 days to 90 days look ahead schedule on a weekly basis so that progress monitoring may be effective. Company has to press contractor to make all submissions in scheduled times. Company has to insist contractor to award soil investigation and geographical investigation activities, operations, vendor services of contracts without wasting any single day, since these investigations would support all foundations activities adversely or progressively. A company has to fix various meetings such as weekly, monthly, quarterly, etc. depending on weeks, progress on site and also progress on design engineering in a design office. EPC contractor designs. It's a parallel activity that should be conducted by contractor either using its in-house design division or using its alliance for designs. All feedback is provided to alliance partners, engineers with complete necessary contract documents. In general, designers in alliance are considered lead partner on EPC contracts. All designs and post-design clarifications are obtained from them as work technical or engineering clarifications and instructions. Designers carry out complete designs related to all engineering activities on contract projection. Designers carry out complete design related to all engineering activities on contract project. Designers submit to company engineer all designs for approval and then distribute according to all related offices such as execution office and company engineer's office or elsewhere if so required. All revisions on designs are made by alliance design engineers though throughout currency of contracts. All site queries are responded by designer. Continuous interaction is effective between designer located wherever on globe and site design engineers through contract, currency, and even for submission drawings at closure of project. All changes made on site are conducted under approval from designers and accordingly, red lines are marked on which changes which are incorporated into as-built drawings for purpose of future reference during plant meeting maintenance. Designers all day keep in touch with companies engineers for various purposes of designs and also for various purposes to select vessels and equipments related to project process trains and related conditions. Such professional interaction between EPC designers and company engineer is very significant for progress on contract project. What happens in certain cases that designs are altered at 11th hour of pouring concrete due to alterations on designs related to vessels and equipment. Even though pouring state was prepared and ready for pour, work is stopped temporarily to make changes on site works and then pouring is done on modified work in line meeting new design requirement. Even though these would be certain delays on certain operations. A suitable camp layout is prepared for required number of residents, including staff and workers. Permission to be obtained from authorities and company to commence with camp construction. Camp may be located within a municipality or statutory limit authority demarcation limit. Preparation for this camp to be confined to into a professional manner. Camp must be provided healthy and suitable porta cabins type sets of rooms provided with toilets and electricity along with air conditioners. Access to rooms should be impeccable and circulation free. Then reception gate, access to all rooms should be impeccable and circulation be free. No water from rain should stagnate in camping areas. Reception gate guard room should be located at entry gate. Messing facility should be provided depending on nationalities. Washing and laundry should be provided for all personnel. Common toilets and common bathing areas should be provided for workforce with continuous water supply. Water tankers should deliver water to camp, overhead tanks and reservoirs at ground if so provided. Reservation reservation centers common room with TV facilities, should be provided for all workers and working staff. Adequate ground should be left open for games for purpose such as football, tennis. Area should be left for buses, parking, car. Alright. What I'm saying is adequate ground should be left open for games, play purpose such as football, tennis, etc. Area should be left for buses, parking, cars, parking and equipment and machine parking. Fire prevention and suppression measures should be provided all along. A modern technology-based STP civil treatment plant should be provided for full time dedicated sessions. Right? Then I'm going to say modern technology, okay, STP. A modern technology-based STP sewage treatment plant should be provided for full-time dedicated operation. Arrangements should be made for waste disposal, meeting environmental requirements and statutory regulations. All arrangements should be prepared for dust hazards prevention so that dust does not lift and fly into air. All precautions should be resorted to prevention to prevent all other hazards mishap due to toxic materials. Areas should be demarked for assembly when emergency alarm is blown or budged. Masses should be provided full level fire prevention and fire suppression equipment. Accommodation should be provided with fire extinguishing equipment. No accommodation should be allowed keep well facility. No accommodation should be allowed cooking facility. All persons have to depend on missing for purpose of food and breakfast. All days during contract until works of Ramadan so that workforce is demobilized. All persons have to depend on meat messing for purpose of food and breakfast all days during contract until workforce is demoralized to other sites. Site preparation. Site preparation. Let me do this site preparation. It's long one, but it's interesting one. EPC contractor portion site preparation. How much in this? Let me see. It's not a long document, maybe long. No, it's not very long. Let me read it. A lot of commencement operations are required to be affected by EPC contractor in very short span of time. Applying to obtain commencement work permit from operating authority in case it is a requirement by law, conducting site surveys and security fences work, conducting approval of soil investigation and geographical laboratory and award it to commence with work, applying to company engineer to select locations for drilling bore holes for investigating purposes, submitting existing survey level profiles of all areas within project battery limits, removal of all sorts and clay soils from all areas, obtaining approval of all of soil samples for soil to be imported from burrow pits or else here, obtaining soil samples for full range testing by laboratory, submission of test results including all other limits, water, content, voids, etc. Carrying out granular graded fill to define ground levels in layers and compaction of heavy earth moving machines. Once all areas which would accommodate structures is filled and compacted to define profiles, site is ready to be termed as site preparation fill. Access road from camp to site Access road from camp to site must be made good and pliable with slow speed. Access road from main road to site should also be made surfaced with bitwork for smooth flow of traffic with heavy duty requirements with axle load up to 10 to 20 tons. Then access road to site from camp, if not surface, should be kept watered weekly to prevent dust hazard. After that is site office installations and component of such plant facilities. So I'll close here, I think. Let me see how far it's moving. I have taken up this I'll take tomorrow. This is about site office installation. Then office comments on such plant facility project. Tomorrow also I would same. I'll go with same. I'll better close it now. I think you might have got some information about EPC contract projects, how these are called for, how these are invited, how these are worked upon, how these are submitted, technical, specific, and commercial bid. Lot of work is done because EPC means you are going to be having design responsibility in addition to construction responsibility. So for all designs, you are responsible for all quantities, you are responsible for working, you are responsible. Every liability lies on you. It's EPC, it's not easy or difficult. Because you must have top class engineers who do designs and who do bidding as well as who do control of these activities, and that is very important part on this. It's not easy, it takes so much in technical input, it takes so much specification input, it takes so much law input, it takes so much of you can say calculations, and it's a big teamwork that EPC has to do because there is no BOQ provided by anybody. You have to prepare BOQ, and BOQ can be prepared only when design is ready in time, and other safety guys and all other metal purchasers, so they keep on working side by side. This usually happens in this. So we may say that EPC is a further advanced way of bidding and getting work done. Means Design is a part of contractor design, but feed is a part given to that person. Feed is provided, what is to be expected is provided, flow cycle is provided, process flow cycle, or what is expected of that project is provided, complete use are provided, schematic drawings are provided like architectural drawings and scheme, structural drawing maybe in a scheme and maybe utilities. All are provided to bidder so that bidder can design it according to feed, that is FEED, what is requirement of feed is, what codes apply, and this contractor has to tell them yes we can do it, and that is not that you can say a statement only. It is to be done. It is required to be done this way. It's a big project means you are designer, you are quantifier, you are producer, you are contractor, executor, prosecutor, and then you have to involve in long term. It's not easy. Big stuff is required. Complete documents are required. Certificates are required. And if you are not being issued, why don't you issue? I understand. You have to be strong enough to understand all this. And with this, say I can say that you might have got some information about construction as well as about EPC mechanism of projects execution, which is very important from our professional viewpoint. You got something out of this, and really it is, you can say, challenge for those engineers who work in quantities, who work in designs, who work in prosecution, who work in specifying areas, that you have to involve with many codes, national and international codes, other codes, and you have to interact with people who are there overseas working with such groups. That is where more influence lies. And with this, I take your leave to close this bid with next time talking to you. Already it's around quarter to 4 hours. I close it now. Thank you very much, gentlemen, being with me on this long talk. This long talk, of course, it takes hours, hours and hours, and I think you may have don't have that much patience to stick to this for long hours. Thank you very much once again for being with me. I'll be in touch with you. Thank you guys. Bye bye.